All right. Good evening, everyone. I will go ahead and call to order the 1633rd regular meeting of the Thornton City Council. And before we begin, just like to remind everyone in the audience to please turn off or silence all electronic devices. The audience seating area is provided for observing council meetings from a seated position only. Audience members wishing to stand must stand in the aisle along the rear wall opposite the council dais. Also, if there's anyone in the audience who needs assistance in listening to or participating in the meeting and is not indicated so on the sign-up sheet, you can raise your hand and a staff member will provide assistance. Item 2 is the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3 is a moment of silence. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Item 4 is the land acknowledgement. Mayor Pro Tem Ayala, would you please read the land acknowledgement this evening?
Yes, the city of Thornton respectfully acknowledges the land in which we stand is the traditional territory of the Apache, Arapaho, Cheyenne, Comanche, Kiowa, Lakota, Navajo, Pueblo, Shoshone, and Southern Ute tribes and nations who were the original stewards of the land. We honor the history, culture, and contributions, both past and present, of these indigenous nations and tribes. We pay respect to their ancestors, elders, and present-day community members and extend our gratitude to the indigenous peoples for their ongoing care and stewardship of the land, water, and resources. We also recognize the lasting impact of colonialism, forced removals, and continued injustices that have affected indigenous communities throughout the history and into the present. We also acknowledge the labor of enslaved Africans and their descendants who worked the stolen land for the colonists and who continue to disproportionately face economic depression, racism, violence, and exploitation. May this acknowledgement serve as a reminder of our responsibility to be mindful and respectful of the land, its history, and the indigenous communities who call Colorado home and use it to guide our policies and decision-making for the people of Thornton.
Thank you. Item 5 is a roll call of the council. Clerk, would you please call the roll of council?
Mayor Coleman.
Here.
Councilmember Acunto.
Here.
Councilmember Algie.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala.
Here.
Councilmember Byrd.
Here.
Councilmember Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Morris.
Here.
Councilmember Russell.
Here.
Councilmember Salazar.
Here.
Quorum's present, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 6 is approval of the agenda. Are there any staff changes to the agenda this evening?
We do not have any proposed changes to the agenda. Thank you.
Council, are there any changes to the agenda? Councilmember Morris.
I'd like to add item 7B, a resolution recognizing June 15th to the 21st, 2026 as National Waste and Recycling Workers Week in the city of Thornton, Colorado.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the amendment to the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed, please say no. All right, item 7B has been added to the agenda. Councilmember Byrd.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm requesting that item 14A be removed and returned to a future planning session. After reviewing the scoring sheets and committee decision-making documentation sent out earlier this week, I have significant questions regarding the final recommendations that were derived. And before council spends $314,000 in taxpayer funds, I believe we owe it to the public and applicants to fully understand the methodology that produced these recommendations.
Second.
Thank you. The motion has been made to remove item 14A to a future planning session. Would you please poll the council?
Councilmember Acunto.
Yes.
Councilmember Algie.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala.
Yes.
Councilmember Byrd.
Yes.
Mayor Coleman.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez.
No.
Councilmember Morris.
Yes.
Councilmember Russell.
No.
Councilmember Salazar.
No.
Motion passed 6-3, Your Honor.
Thank you. So now we have an amended agenda that includes item 7B, removes item 14A. Can I get a motion to approve the full agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? I guess go ahead and poll the council.
Councilmember Algie.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala.
Yes.
Councilmember Byrd.
Yes.
Mayor Coleman.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez.
No.
Councilmember Morris.
Yes.
Councilmember Russell.
Yes.
Councilmember Salazar.
No.
Motion passed 7-2, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 7 is presentations. Item 7A is a resolution declaring June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth in the city of Thornton, Colorado. Councilmember Russell, would you please introduce this item and read it in its entirety?
Yes, and thank you. I'd like to introduce a resolution declaring June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth in the city of Thornton, Colorado. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring the slaves in the Confederate territory free, paving the way for the passing of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States of America. And whereas news of the end of the slavery did not reach the frontier areas of the United States, in particular the state of Texas and the other southwestern states, until months after the conclusion of the Civil War, more than 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. Whereas on June 19th, 1865, Union soldiers led by Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, with the news that the Civil War had ended and that the enslaved were free. And whereas the 19th of June has a special meaning to African Americans and is called Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th, and has been celebrated by the African American community for over 150 years. And whereas Juneteenth celebrations have been held to honor African American freedom while encouraging self-development and respect for all cultures. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the City Council of the City of Thornton, Colorado as follows. June 19th, 2026 is hereby declared as Juneteenth in the City of Thornton. The Juneteenth flag will be flown with the city, and all citizens are encouraged to participate in educational events, celebrations, and acts of service that honor the enduring spirit and the ongoing pursuit of equity for all. And I ask for its immediate approval.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Russell, you made the motion, so you have the option to go first.
Yes, thank you. Juneteenth is a powerful reminder that freedom and equality are values worth celebrating and protecting. While it marks the end of slavery in the United States, it also gives us an opportunity to reflect on our nation's journey and the work that remains to ensure opportunity and fairness for everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to recognize this important day and encourage our community to use it as a time for reflection, education, and celebration. Together, we can continue building a community where residents feel valued, respected, and are included. And want to just put the note out there that Thornton, we will have our celebratory event on June 18th at 5:30 p.m. at the Harley Brown Amphitheater. I would love to see everybody there in attendance.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala.
Yeah, thank you. I don't want to take up too much time because I know we have a lot tonight, but if you ever have a chance to go to Galveston and take a tour of their museum honoring the Juneteenth celebrations and the history of the original birthplace of Juneteenth, take up that opportunity. It was really intriguing, and I had the opportunity this last winter to go check it out, and it was really really eye-opening to just kind of have the opportunity to visit that space and kind of think about what happened in the past there. So I'm glad that we're able to celebrate this here in Thornton, and I look forward to seeing folks on the 18th next week for the celebration.
Councilmember Martinez.
Yeah, thank you to the council for bringing this motion forward. The resolution that we read tonight, laying out the history of Juneteenth. It's a celebration of resilience. It's a reminder of a community that held on to hope and survived unimaginable pain and suffering, and eventually emerged to help shape the very fabric of our nation. By officially designating June 19th as Juneteenth in Thornton and recognizing the holiday, we aren't just checking a box or looking backward. We're making a statement about who we are today and what our values are. We're choosing to be a city that honors every part of our shared history, celebrates our diversity, and actively works towards making sure everyone who lives here feels seen and valued. History isn't just something we read about, it's something that we build on. I encourage everyone in Thornton to take this day to celebrate, learn and connect with your neighbors, and give back. So I'll echo my colleagues' reminders to come out to the Juneteenth event, and thank you all to the council for considering this motion. I'll certainly be supporting it.
Any additional discussion? I'll just add a thank you also for bringing it forward, and I believe it was Councilmember Kunto that actually brought this up a few years ago to add it as a holiday to the city of Thornton. So thank you for that. Would you please poll the council?
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala? Yes. Councilmember Byrd?
Yes.
Mayor Coleman?
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember Morris?
Yes.
Councilmember Russell?
Yes.
Councilmember Salazar?
Yes.
Councilmember Acunto?
Yes.
Councilmember Algie?
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 7B is a resolution recognizing June 15th through 21st, 2026 as National Waste and Recycling Workers Week in the city of Thornton, Colorado. Councilmember Morris, would you please introduce this item and read it in its entirety?
All right, a resolution recognizing June 15th to 21st, 2026 as National Waste and Recycling Workers Week in the city of Thornton, Colorado. Whereas waste and recycling workers provide essential services that protect public health, preserve the environment, and contribute to the quality of life enjoyed by residents and businesses throughout the city. And whereas these dedicated professionals collect, transport, process, and manage waste and recyclable materials safely and efficiently, often working in challenging weather conditions and hazardous environments. And whereas waste and recycling workers play a vital role in maintaining clean neighborhoods, supporting environmental sustainability, conserving natural resources, and advancing responsible waste management practices. And whereas the services provided by waste and recycling workers are fundamental to the health, safety, and well-being of our community and are relied upon daily by residents, businesses, and public institutions. And whereas National Waste and Recycling Workers Week provides an opportunity to recognize the hard work, professionalism, and commitment of these individuals and to express gratitude for their contributions to the community. And whereas the city of Thornton values the dedication of its waste and recycling personnel, as well as all waste and recycling workers serving communities across the nation whose efforts help create a cleaner, healthier, and more sustainable future. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Thornton, Colorado, as follows. That City Council hereby recognizes June 15th to the 21st, 2026 as National Waste and Recycling Workers Week in the City of Thornton and encourages all residents to join in expressing appreciation for the vital services provided by waste and recycling workers and their commitment to keeping our community clean, safe, and environmentally responsible. And I move for its approval.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution. I'll open it for discussion. Councilmember Morris, you have the option to go first as you made the motion.
Sure, thank you. I'm grateful for recognizing National Waste and Recycle Workers Week and specifically honoring our environmental services team here in Thornton. They do provide essential services we normally may not think about unless it does not happen. But the work this team does is essential to daily life in our city. The services include our trash and recycling, our composting site, our tree branch drop-off and click and haul pickup service. Our trash and recycle workers do difficult, physical, and often thankless work in all kinds of weather. They are out early, working around traffic, heavy equipment, changing conditions, and tight schedules to keep our community clean and functioning. So I just want to say thank you to our waste and recycle workers, to our environmental services team. Your work protects public health, supports a cleaner environment, and helps make Thornton a better place to live. And as the resolution stated, I also encourage our residents this week to take a moment to show appreciation, a wave, a thank you note, a kind word to those folks driving by in my neighborhood on Wednesdays. And I'm happy to support this resolution tonight.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala?
I just want to take a quick minute to just show some appreciation for our environmental services workers in the city of Thornton. One thing I've noticed over the last years on council is that in the city of Thornton, we don't have to delay putting our trash cans out like many folks do in other cities with private sector environmental services companies, because our city is just awesome like that, and we have a team that just gets it done, and so many people are just always impressed with how they clean up after they do a bulk pickup. Just great service all around. And I really think that's because our city councils in the past and our city managers in the past did the work to put this program together in the city of Thornton. I happen to work in one of our neighboring cities that doesn't have the environmental services through the city. It's private sector instead of public sector. And so you see many trucks on the streets. You see a lot more trucks on the streets picking things up. They're not taking, honestly, as much care and thought into because they're on a tighter schedule. And I think that, in our city, we just have a much tighter scheduled pickup, and I just really appreciate it. And I think it's, as a labor organizer for years, it's something that we overlook, because when things are outsourced outside of our city, they end up getting, a bunch of different companies competing for the ability to pick up the trash, and it does make your community have a lot more trucks on the road. So I am very grateful for what we have in the city of Thornton. It's efficient, it's quick, and it's clean. And I just really want to show my appreciation for our environmental services workers. So thank you for bringing this resolution to the city tonight, Drew.
Any additional discussion? I'll just add my thanks as well. A group of unsung heroes. I remember during COVID how important they were to the entire community. I just want to say thank you. Would you please poll the council?
Councilmember Byrd?
Yes.
Mayor Coleman?
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember Morris?
Yes.
Councilmember Russell?
Yes.
Councilmember Salazar?
Yes.
Councilmember Acunto?
Yes.
Councilmember Algie?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala?
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 8 is audience participation. This is a time for members of the community to speak on any item that is not on the agenda as a public hearing or going to be on a public hearing in the future. Pursuant to City Council's rules of order and procedure, speaking time is limited to 3 minutes per person with a 1-hour limit on this segment of the agenda. In-person speakers will be heard first, followed by remote speakers registered before the end of the in-person comment segment. Residents of the city, as indicated on the sign-up sheet, will be given preference in the order heard in each segment. The podium located on the dais of the council chambers must be used to offer public comment during the audience participation or public hearing sections of the meeting agenda. In the event of physical inability or preference, the public may offer comment by microphone while seated in the audience seating area, but at no time shall the public comment be made while moving through the chambers. Ms. Long, is there anyone who signed up to speak under audience participation?
Yes, Your Honor. We have 2 individuals in person and no one has signed up online.
Thank you. So in just a moment, again, each speaker will be given up to 3 minutes to speak on this segment of the agenda, and it is limited to 1 hour. Please make sure that you watch the light on the podium. When it turns yellow and you hear a single beep, you'll need to wrap up your comments. And when it turns red and you hear multiple beeps, your time is up, and I'll have to interrupt you as your 3 minutes are over. When you are called, those in person, please come to the podium, and those who indicate on the webinar registration that you wish to speak will be allowed to unmute and speak when the clerk calls your name. Ms. Long, who's the first person signed up to speak?
Chris Cook, Ward 4.
Here today to talk about flock and APRs in general. During the past few council meetings, I have been brought up examples on how flock and other surveillance tools have been used by men to track and surveil the woman in their lives or the woman they want in their lives. Last time I shared a news story of an event that happened in Lakewood where an on-duty police officer made sexual advances on a woman he was arresting. One of our city council members responded back by stating the following. In this case, the department's internal systems investigation process ultimately identified the misconduct resulted in the accountability for the officer involved. I want to ask a question to our city council. Is this good enough? It took the courage of the victim to speak out against her arresting officer who tried to have sex with her, made sexual comments, and intentionally manipulated the audio on his body-worn camera. It was because of this accusation that an internal investigation was opened, which found that the officer had unauthorized use of criminal justice records and found evidence of other past criminal violations. On his police-issued cell phone, they also found sexually related communications with former female arrestees, witnesses, and victims, along with sexually explicit photographs. Some of the evidence of these past crimes are so old that the statute of limitations had already passed on them. So I must ask again, is having a department's investigation process look at years worth of abuses and using police-issued technology against the very people this officer is sworn to protect good enough? The answer is no. This is not good enough. Is this what accountability looks like? No, it is not. There should be internal audits in place to flag suspicious activity on anyone abusing these technologies. Police-issued tools should be monitored and audited to catch people who are abusing them. If the community is going to provide these tools for the police, then ultimately it is the responsibility of the city to make sure these tools are being used appropriately. And this is where the city of Lakewood failed their citizens, especially the victims of this police officer. And I don't want the city of Thornton to fail us in the same way. These technologies can be used to solve crime and to do good, but if we leave the door wide open, then it'll be used for evil as well. It was pointed out in the last council meeting that these types of abuses can happen in any profession, and this is true. Men will be men. But I want to also remind all of you that most police officers are required to give an oath to serve the community, uphold the Constitution, and maintain public trust. The police should be held in a higher regard than most other people, and it should be the responsibility of our police precincts and our city to make sure this is happening. And the only way to guarantee that is through independent oversight. Thank you all, and have a good night.
Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
Tom Lampo, no address provided.
Hello. I want to continue speaking on slavery tonight. 2 weeks ago, I spoke about Senator Tim Kaine, an attorney who graduated from Harvard, who states the United States didn't inherit slavery from anybody, we created it. But he was and is still wrong. Humorist Josh Billings famously wrote, "The trouble with a great many of us is that we ain't ignorant so much as we know so many things that ain't so." That really sums up Senator Kaine and you who believe your white hate land statement. You know so much that just ain't so. This is why I keep referring back to your K through 12 education. It lacks integrity and built around the same notion of hatred. I'm Tom Lampo and hope all in Thornton are doing well. It's difficult times, and we still have some difficulty to endure, but we got this. I oppose your white hate statement concerning the land of the United States, and I'm asking you to please remove it. Tonight, I want to look at Saida Grundy, a graduate of Spelman College, a prestigious private historically black women's liberal arts college, who holds a master's degree and PhD from the University of Michigan. She's an associate professor of sociology, African American and Black diaspora studies, and also of women's and gender studies at Boston University. She's a very educated individual and accomplished educator. She states, "For the record, no race outside of Europeans had a system that made slavery a personhood instead of temporary condition." Her statement is just white hate and a lie. She has a need to dig at white people. The Europeans, the white people, they are just hateful individuals. I'm convinced her K through 12 education molded these views, and then her undergraduate work shaped some more, and then her master's and doctorate work solidified them. And now she educates others with these same misconceptions and hate. So what's incorrect with her statement? The Egyptians, who were not European, but Northeast African and Southwestern Asian, held Jews as slaves for 400 years in the 14th century before Christ. The Jews had no chance of living a non-slavery life, and for generations, their offspring was born into slavery. I will cite additional examples in future weeks. Your white hate land statement is much the same. It doesn't account for any race except the white Europeans. No accountability to any other race. The platform that has molded your thinking, has developed your agenda, is built on lies. Your K through 12 education has failed you, and now you are failing us. Enjoy the rest of your night. We all have the right to free thought and speech. You just choose hate.
Thank you. I think that was the last person signed up to speak.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there anyone in the audience that wanted to speak but didn't know you needed to sign up? If so, you can come to the podium now. All right, we will move on to item 9, which is council comments and communication. We were going to start with Ward 2 tonight. Councilmember Algie.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to be very brief in respect to our upcoming public hearing. So last week we celebrated our 70th anniversary of our city with Thornton Fest and also activities at the Active Adult Center. Last Tuesday, Councilmember Russell and I participated in Apron Aces ceremony where we honored all our volunteers, a lot of them with the Thornton Area 55 Plus organization, who helped serve meals to our mobility impaired active adults and also help sell lunches to go. So we have a nice little plaque over in the cafeteria at the Active Adult Center, so come check it out. Also, there was bingo on Wednesday. I was there briefly. Then I had a doctor's appointment to go to. And then Friday, we had the 70th anniversary lunch, which I partaked in. We had an Elvis impersonator entertaining. We had burgers and fries and onion rings. Then I participated in the drone video and drone pick of, we had a bunch of us do the 70 number 70 out in front of the Active Adult Center. So I was invited to participate in that. And then I attended Thornton Fest on Saturday afternoon, and I hung out with Mayor Pro Tem Ayala and Councilmember Morris, and I went out to the different vendors and also went out to all the city tents and the departments and thanked them personally for all the great work they continue to do for our city. And with that, I will yield the remainder of my time.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I really appreciate all the work that went into Thornton Fest this last weekend. It was amazing, and it was a really big celebration for our 70th anniversary as a city. So the event was really well done. It was a lot larger than we usually have, and a really good time. The laser show was really awesome. I really liked how it kind of the light was on the buildings and stuff like that. It looked really cool. So if any of y'all had a chance to go, I hope you enjoyed it. It was a really fun celebration. Just wanted to give folks some information on a few more celebrations coming up. We have Juneteenth on Thursday, June 18th from 5:30 to 8:30 at Harley Brown Amphitheater. Little Moses Jones will be there again. He was at our event for Thornton Fest on Saturday, but it was a really good time. A lot of people enjoyed it. So if you have the opportunity, be sure to stop by. There'll be free carousel rides to celebrate the history of TASHCO, which is our Arts and Humanities Board, and the legacy of Frank Newton, who was the former president of the namesake of our Thornton Carousel. He was the former TASHCO president, and he's the namesake for our Thornton Carousel at Margaret Carpenter Park. And those will be available from 5 to 7. And then also we have our Pride event, and that will be also at the Harley Brown Amphitheater from 5:30 to 8:30 on June 25th, on Thursday, June 25th. And there'll be a lot of music, food trucks, and story time. If you'd like to participate in that, anybody's welcome to come. Friends, families, allies, and neighbors of the LGBTQIA+ community. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Councilmember Salazar.
Good evening. I would just like to say that I am grateful to our Thornton residents for sending us to lobby for our community's top priorities: safer streets and enhanced senior transportation. We made sure Thornton's voice was heard loud and clear, and we are excited to bring these vital resources back to our neighbors. Thank you.
Councilmember Martinez.
Yeah, I do want to give special thanks to our staff, our Parks Department staff, Police Department, Fire Department, everybody else who made Thornton Fest an incredible event. As my colleague said, this was the biggest and most exciting event that we've had yet. And I think that it wasn't obviously wouldn't be possible without our staff. Thank you very much. And I'd also like to add my favorite part about Thornton Fest was the basketball tournament hosted by the nonprofit Generational Opportunities, which is a growing nonprofit ran by one of Thornton's residents, and they are committed to providing opportunities for young people to thrive in our city. And this basketball tournament doubled in size, and I especially want to call out the fact that they were able to recruit and have more girls basketball teams. They had almost as many girls basketball teams as boys, which is great to grow the sport and to have people participate as part of our Thornton Fest. It's a great addition. I can't wait to see what they come up with next year. I'd also like to, moving off of Thornton Fest, I'd also like to say congratulations to SASHCO on their 90th anniversary. SASHCO, if you don't know, is one of Thornton's primary employers. They have a warehouse, or they have a facility up in Ward 4 over by 144th, and they are having an anniversary celebration. Really grateful for companies like SASHCO for locating in Thornton and doing all the great business that they do here, providing opportunities for our residents and, honestly creating a great product. So thank you, SASHCO, for inviting us to your anniversary celebration coming up this week, and congratulations.
Councilmember Morris.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank a few groups tonight. First, thank you to Scouting Colorado's Troop 337. They joined our forestry team last Saturday to do fire mitigation work in the open space near East Lake number 2, which is right behind the East Lake Village Townhome community. This troop was able to clear out about 2 trailer loads of trees and debris. Of course, this work wouldn't have happened without our forestry team. I want to say thanks to Jonathan Griffin. He's from the team. He's actually an Eagle Scout, and he helped coordinate with the troop to help make this happen. After the troop and forestry teams were finished, our parks and mowing teams went back out to the site to finish, and they loaded another 2 trailers of debris. And so basically this team removed around 40 cubic yards of tree and debris from the site, which was specifically towards the mission of reducing or creating fire mitigation and removing some hazards there, which is just awesome to see. Along those lines, thank you to resident Dan Whitcomb from East Lake Village Townhome community for setting up a free lemonade stand that the staff and the troop used. It's pretty great to see. Appreciate you taking care of the people who are taking care of our community. I do want to give a shout out along the lines of what Council Member Salazar was mentioning about our lobbying trip. Did want to thank Rob and Kevin for the work you guys put in preparing and executing the trip, and for working with our federal lobbyist team and John. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe we came to a consensus that you'll be now addressed as our esteemed staff. Thornton Fest, as I'll echo what everyone else said, great event, huge event, love the music lineup. So thank you to our Parks and Rec team for the amazing setup. Of course, thank you to all the staff and departments that were out there. They were manning booths, they were fielding questions from residents, and they just looked like they were having a great time and not melting too much under the tent. So it really was an all hands on deck type of day, and I'm proud of what you all accomplished. And then I'll put a plug in for, again, the 70th anniversary of our city. If you're into history and you haven't yet checked out the exhibit at the Arts and Culture Annex, I'd highly recommend you do. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Councilmember Russell?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. First, I was honored to attend the Colorado Afghan American Association Ed Mela celebration. It was wonderful to join in recognizing this important cultural and religious celebration while connecting with members of our diverse community. I first started getting introduced to the Afghan community through the sport cricket, which we opened that field, and learned that a lot of the Afghan residents within our city are big participants in that sport. So it's really just kind of been a journey this year, just learning and growing more culturally, particularly for myself, but definitely encourage everybody to check it out next year. It is a pretty large event. I was actually very amazed at just how many people were there in attendance, and I didn't receive final numbers, but I think we were upwards of over 6,000. So really cool, really big event, definitely worth checking out. Also had the pleasure of attending the Active Adult Center's Meal Program volunteer recognition event with Councilmember Algie. So the dedication of these volunteers is truly inspiring. I mean, their commitment to serving the meals and supporting our senior community makes a real difference to so many of our residents. So thank you to all the volunteers for your time, compassion, and service. Recently, also as mentioned, we traveled to DC as part of a lobbying trip where we met with members of our Colorado's congressional delegation, representatives of the Department of Justice, and other several federal partners. During these meetings, I had the opportunity to advocate on behalf of Thornton and discuss issues impacting public safety. He specifically highlighted the needs of our police and fire departments and the importance of continued federal support and partnership to ensure first responders have the resources necessary to keep our community safe. And finally, attended another amazing Thornton Fest, got to make it there twice in the first half of the day and then again in the evening for the award presentation. This annual tradition just continues to bring Thornton residents, families, businesses, community organizations together in celebration of everything that makes Thornton special. So I want to just extend a sincere thank you to our Parks, Recs, community programs department, police, fire, all of our staff. They had a very long day and it was also very hot. So really appreciate you having to work through that event, and all the additional help that we received from our sponsors, vendors, and many other volunteers. They just dedicated countless hours to planning and executing another amazing Thornton Fest. So thank you to all of you and everyone else that continue to serve our residents and make Thornton a great place to live.
Councilmember Acunto?
Thank you, Mayor. Like everybody else, I want to thank staff for Thornton Fest. Amazing as always. And I'm going to briefly just touch on a public comment. So one question that I have worth asking is, what does accountability look like? In the case that was referenced, the officer was investigated, terminated from his position, arrested, and criminally charged. If that's not accountability, I'm not sure what outcome would satisfy that standard. So no system can guarantee misconduct will never occur. The real test is whether there's something in place to detect it, investigate it, and hold individuals responsible for when it happens. Based on the reporting that was referenced, that is exactly what occurred here. The officer's actions were uncovered, investigated, and held accountable for violating the public's trust. I would also disagree with the suggestion that this is simply a case of, quote, men being men, end quote. Misconduct is not exclusive to any gender, profession, or position. Men and women alike are capable of making poor decisions, abusing authority, or violating public trust. This issue is not about gender. Thank you.
Councilmember Byrd.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to echo the sentiment of many of the other council members when it comes to Thornton Fest, and a big thank you to all the staff that was there. I also heard that we had a couple of Thornton citizens that had some complications due to how hot it was, and our EMS staff and everybody was able to respond very quickly. So thank you guys for being there and being able to be on that really fast. I would also like to remind everybody that Thursday is the Ward 3 Rhythm and Reels. This year we will have the Michael Friedman Band, which is a jazz, soul, R&B band. So I'm looking forward to that. And if anybody has any kind of questions or comments or anything in the process, feel free to flag me down. I'll be the guy with the giant cowboy hat on. I can guarantee it.
All right, a few updates from me as well. The city is currently advertising for the Thornton Arts, Sciences, and Humanities Council Board of Directors for Ward 2. The deadline to apply is June 15th at 5 p.m. The city is also currently advertising for the Building Code Advisory Board for Ward 1, the Election Commission for Ward 2, and the deadline to apply for these is June 26th at 5 p.m. The Planning Commission and Board of Adjustments for Ward 2, and the deadline to apply is July 8th at 5 p.m. And the Active Adult Board for Wards 2 or 3, and the deadline to apply for that is July 9th at 5 p.m. The city has several regular contract and temporary seasonal positions available, such as controller, equipment operators for environmental services, permit counter supervisor, and utility maintenance specialists. And you can find more information about these and other vacant positions by visiting our website at thorntonco.gov/jobs. And as you've heard from my colleagues, it's been a busy couple of weeks representing the city of Thornton here and in DC. Several of us flew in last week for our annual fly-in to talk with our representatives about what we are looking for in the city of Thornton. We talked about transportation, public safety, PFAS remediation, housing, aging services, and roadway safety projects. And these meetings are really important because we make sure that Thornton's priorities are part of the conversation at the federal level. And the proof has been the fundings in grants and earmarks that we've been successful in getting over the last few years. So a very valuable visit for all of us. Back here at home, we had the opportunity to attend the grand opening of Target's new food distribution center, more than $300 million in investment to support over 130 stores, and it establishes Thornton as one of the most important employment and logistics hubs in the region. We also attended the grand opening of Willow Bray Academy and welcomed another child care provider into the city, increasing our options for Thornton families. I also attended the Metro Mayor's Caucus meeting where transportation was our focus for the month in issues involving RTD, front range passenger rail, first and last mile connections, and these all continue to be huge priorities for the communities across the region and especially for Thornton. And this past weekend was absolutely amazing. Thornton Fest celebrated our 70th anniversary, and I have to say it was probably one of the best celebrations we've had in the city of Thornton in my time living here. It was amazingly well executed, and thank you so much to the city staff. We got to honor our history as well as the extended version of our traditional Thornton Fest, but I also got to meet Loretta Garcia. She was the first baby born in the city of Thornton after we incorporated, and I met Dorothy Rupert. She was the city's first female council member. They had both donated some of their memorabilia to the city, and we got to talk a lot about how much has changed in the last 70 years. It was really exciting. I also want to thank our city staff and volunteers for helping make sure that it was a tremendous success. And I'll always appreciate the opportunity to represent Thornton, both here in the city and when we travel outside of the city to make sure our voices are heard. With that, I'm going to move on to item 10, which is quasi-judicial public hearings. So before we begin tonight's land use hearings, I will briefly explain council's role in the quasi-judicial process. For matters such as development applications, site-specific rezonings, and similar requests, the council acts as a quasi-judicial capacity. In this role, we are legally required to base our decisions solely on the evidence and testimony presented during the public hearing. And because of that, we must avoid any ex parte communications, which are any discussions about the merits of a pending application outside of this forum. This means that council members cannot discuss these cases with the public beforehand, cannot take positions in advance, and must keep an open mind until the close of the hearing. These requirements are not meant to distance us from the community. They are designed to protect the fairness and integrity of the process and to ensure that any decision we make is legally defensible. Tonight's record, which includes staff analysis, the applicant's presentation, and public testimony, will form the basis of our decision. We appreciate your participation and your understanding of these procedural obligations. And with that, at this time, I would ask anyone in the audience intending to give testimony, including citizens who have signed up to speak, to please stand so you can be sworn in.
Then please raise your right hand. Do you hereby swear or affirm that your testimony before this council will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief? Thank you.
Thank you. Item 10A is a public hearing concerning a resolution approving an ordinance, approving a zoning amendment for approximately 29 acres of land generally located on the northeast corner of East 112th Avenue and York Street, Dodge Ranch. Public hearing is now open at 7:41 p.m. Aaron Rogowski, planner, will present this item. Please state your name, address, and whether or not you were sworn. And if you have not, please respond to the clerk after she gives the oath.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. Aaron Rogowski, senior planner, here with the city and 9500 Civic Center Drive, and I have been sworn in. Item 10A is a zoning amendment proposal for 4 parcels of land, approximately 29 acres, generally located on the northeast corner of East 112th Avenue and York Street. The applicant is proposing to rezone the site to transit-oriented development. This presentation will include an overview of the project from staff and the applicant, a summary of the public input received, staff's evaluation of the applicable code approval criteria, and will end with staff's recommendation. Now I'd like to enter 5 comments we received from the public after the packet was published into the official record for this public hearing. They've been placed on the dais for your review. This application was submitted following adoption of the 2025 Development Code, and therefore it was evaluated under the new process and zoning criteria. This means no concurrent site plan was required to be submitted in conjunction with the zoning amendment. Only the zoning amendment will be reviewed during this public hearing, and City Council should use the listed criteria for zoning amendment in Section 18-62 of the new code. Preliminary plans have replaced the conceptual site plan application and are reviewed administratively by staff. While no public hearing is required, preliminary plans still necessitate a neighborhood meeting. The preliminary plan will not be presented as part of the zoning amendment. And in general, zoning proposals shall comply with the comprehensive plan along with any other long-range planning documents that exist for the site. So this is a vicinity map of the site, which is highlighted in yellow on the map. The property consists of 4 parcels of land totaling approximately 29 acres. It is located across from the existing 112th and York Street rail station. To the north and east are single-family detached legacy neighborhoods, and to the south are vacant parcels of land in the residential mid-density and neighborhood commercial zone districts. Notices for this public hearing were sent by mail to all property owners within 1,500 feet of the subject site. That noticing buffer is represented here with the purple line. Notices were also posted online at city facilities at least 10 days prior to the public hearing. The applicant has also met all physical sign posting notice requirements, and the corresponding affidavit has been delivered electronically to be entered into the official public record for this hearing. As an overview, the northernmost parcel in the subject site is zoned Planned Development Legacy and is currently the Dodge Ranch subdivision. This lot contains 3 buildings along York Street, as well as several non-residential structures on the remainder of the lot. The other 3 parcels are zoned single-family detached legacy and are currently vacant. Following are the site photos. Starting on the southwest corner of the property along York Street, this is a view looking into the site. You can see the fences that exist along the south and west borders of the property, and in the distance are the single-family neighborhoods mentioned earlier. Walking north on York Street, these views are looking east onto the property. Traveling further north on York, we have the PDL zoned property. The first residential building is seen here. And further into the northwest corner of the lot, the left-hand photo shows the other 2 buildings on site, and the right-hand photo shows a glimpse of the rest of the lot. As described in the staff report, this lot used to operate as an animal care center, and this is what remains on site. And now I'd like to introduce the applicant team to present the details of their project.
Good evening. My name is Charlie Smith. I am a land use attorney at Polsinelli, 1401 Lawrence Street, Suite 2300 in Denver, Colorado. And I represent Hill Point. Mayor and Council, thank you.
And were you sworn in?
Yes, I was sworn in.
Thank you.
Thank you. There we go. So as I said, I represent Hill Point on this project. Here with us tonight, we have a couple representatives from Hill Point, Marcus Wiedauer and Mark Foster. We also have members from the rest of the consulting team. Some of them you'll hear from tonight, and others are available for the Q&A afterwards. If any questions come up on their respective topics, please don't hesitate to ask. We're happy to have them come address those questions. But for now, I'll turn it over quickly to Marcus Wiedauer from Hill Point, who will talk a little bit about who they are.
Good evening. I am Marcus Wiedauer with Hill Point, 8830 Macon Highway, Athens, Georgia, and I have been sworn in. So I get to go around and I get the honor of talking about Hill Point. We are the nation's largest builder of multifamily housing, workforce housing specific. We do this for people that we call the doers, the essential workers. These are people who are often caught between making too much money for subsidized housing and making too little for the luxury products that are being put out there. Other developers are not as vertically integrated. We're the developer, we're the builder, and we're the owner-operator of the long-term hold. We pass those savings and those efficiencies down to our rent. I'll get into it in a minute, but 100% of our units hit 80 to 120% of AMI. This serves the people that are serving your community. We do it through with 2 products on this site. Our bread and butter is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, dual master. So you don't get into the arguments over who has more privacy or who has more space splitting rent. This also serves a larger community that has developed since COVID of people who work from home. We have a clubhouse that serves them as well with an office space, a conference room that they can utilize should they choose to have meetings and work from there. Cafe, state-of-the-art amenity package. This is a list of those things. We include dog parks, 24-hour fitness. These units are keyless entry, solid surface countertops. These are state-of-the-art units, 100% pet friendly, even down to having a pet spa so they can wash their animal on site without having to wrestle them into their own shower. Grilling areas, pickleball courts, etc. 80 to 120% AMI. A lot of people don't really understand what that means. These are your teachers, these are your police officers, these are your nurses, these are folks that are starting out their careers that simply fall in this missing middle. All too often, these hardworking individuals in our community, really, they're at the point now where they're starting to feel like the American dream is dying because they can't attain home ownership. Housing costs have gotten through the roof, and we are the stepping stone to be able for them to come home, live with dignity, have a nice place to live, and be able to save money to spend it how they choose, whether that's home ownership or however they want to live their lives. It is our singular mission to do that. We try to be part of a community. We, out of the 50 sites that we have only sold 5 ever. The only reason we sold those 5 is we had another asset in the community. We want to be part of Thornton. We want to be part of the community, and we want to answer to your regulations as we have done so tonight. I will stand for any questions, but we really want to lean into the community. One thing I know that safety gets talked about. We offer a police officer 50% rent if he wants to live with us. We try to do things. We'll listen to other suggestions that the city has if there are things that we can provide that we don't have, because we are lean, we are nimble, because we are all the same. We're developer, builder, owner, operator. So I will stand for any questions. I appreciate your time. I know this can be long, and I'll pass it back over to Charlie. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm glad we could hear from Marcus because I think it's just important for you to know who's bringing the application forward. And tonight's application is about the rezoning, right? So maybe we could reorient. Here is another vicinity map, shows kind of a zoomed out view of where this site is within the city, generally at East 112th Avenue and York Street, right by the light rail station. A little bit closer view shows the property in pink or purple, depending on your vision. And it's just that pink or purple part. It's not the vacant land to the south of it. And then you can see in bright yellow there, the light rail station is directly adjacent to it, and the light rail station's just right across York Street. So that provides some context for where this property is and the boundaries. Of course, we're here tonight on this rezoning application, kind of at the end of this timeline on this slide. But that's not the end of the process. After this rezoning hearing, if the rezoning is approved, the actual project will go through the preliminary plan and development plan process that's part of the new code. This also isn't the beginning of this process. This goes way back for 20 years. This is the culmination of 20 years of city planning and intention and goal setting and achievement, all the way back to 2004 when voters in the Metro Denver area approved fast tracks that allowed for the creation and expansion of the light rail system. And then in 2013, you fast forward a little bit, and RTD awarded the contract for the construction of the N line. Obviously, the N line is the one that comes through Thornton. Construction about 6 months later on the N line actually began. And then in 2017, the city, after quite an extensive process with the city of North Glen and the community here, thousands of people having the opportunity to participate through public comment, through attending meetings, et cetera, the city adopted the stamp plan, which governs development of this area right around the train station, including this property. A couple years later, the city adopted the comprehensive plan, again, after extensive community input from the entire city of Thornton. In 2020, the N line officially opened, bringing, at that point, 16 years of vision to life. In 2024, not on this timeline, but the city updated the comp plan, including updates to the future land use map. And then in 2025, as you all know, the city adopted the new code that encourages transit-oriented development and mixed-use development throughout the city, but primarily at these transit sites. And then in 2025, about a month after that, the city adopted a strategic plan, which further enforced its commitment to TOD-style development. So there's been quite a few steps along this path here. Now we are at the point where a developer is coming before you with a proposal to rezone this specific property to TOD in fulfillment of all of these steps that have happened at least since 2004. And that process continues. Hill Point has they're required to have one neighborhood meeting. They've had 3. Starting in January of this year, they had an in-person and virtual hybrid meeting with about 102 people attending. In March, they had a virtual only hearing with 24 people. And then later in March, they had a third in-person hearing with 37 people attending. And they've gathered quite a lot of community input through that. And this process doesn't end now either. If this rezoning is approved and they go through the PP and DP process after this, there'll be yet another opportunity, another neighborhood meeting to gather and compile that feedback from the community and work with city staff to make sure that the feedback is appropriately integrated into the actual development plan that would happen here. But as I mentioned, we're here tonight on the rezoning application itself. That's what's under consideration this evening. And the code sets forth the very specific criteria for approval of a rezoning application. It starts with these two threshold criteria. And if you satisfy one or the other of these, you move on later to 4 additional criteria. In this case, the first criteria doesn't really apply. It's if there's an error in the zoning map, there's not an error. But the second criteria does apply, and that's that the requested zoning district is in substantial conformance with the future land use map of the comprehensive plan, as well as the goals and policies of the comprehensive plan and other adopted plans and policies of the city. So let's dive into that just a little bit and see what that's about. The property, as Aaron mentioned a few minutes ago, this is the current zoning for the property. The north, about a third or so, is zone PDL, which is a legacy zoning district under the prior code. And then the bottom 2/3 is SFDL, another legacy zoning district under the prior code. That's what's in place right now. The comp plan is the document that sets forth the vision and the goals and what the city wants to see happen as it continues to develop over the next 20, 30, 40 years. And the comp plan, part of the comp plan, is a future land use map. And every parcel in the city is given a designation in the future land use map of what city policy says. We hope that this property will someday be this. And the future land use map for this property shows it in, again, purple, pink, there right next to the light rail station. And it designates this parcel as transit-oriented development. So that's what the comp plan and the future land use map says this property should be. Here's a little bit of a zoomed in version. You can see the entire property on the left there is all designated transit-oriented development, and that matches what the future land use plan the future land use map from the comp plan shows, what it calls for. There's more to the comp plan than just the future land use map. That's one piece of it. The comp plan also sets forth dozens, maybe hundreds of goals, policies, and frameworks to guide the vision for the city in the future. And so not only does this rezoning satisfy the intention of the future land use map, it also satisfies quite a few other goals and policies in the comp plan. And here's just a few of them related to transit-oriented development specifically. One policy is to encourage high-density housing and mixed-use development in areas served by or planned for high-frequency transit, as appropriate based on the immediate neighborhood context. This would be rezoning this property to transit-oriented development, which would allow for those types of uses right next to a light rail station. Another growth framework in the comp plan is to identify areas around existing and future train stations that can support a greater choice of housing, employment, retail, and or walkable neighborhoods. Again, that's exactly what this transit-oriented development rezoning would allow to happen. The comp plan has goals, policies, and frameworks around housing diversity, that we should encourage a mix of housing, and that we should expand housing choices and help implement the recommendations of the housing needs assessment by allowing different types of housings to be built in more parts of the city. Excuse me. Transit-oriented development, TOD zoning, again, would help further these goals, policies, and growth frameworks in the comp plan. I don't need to read every one of these. Excuse me. You go camping with a bunch of kids, you come back with a chest cold. That's the way it goes. But here's some additional ones on mixed use and complete neighborhoods. Again, the transit-oriented development would satisfy or further these policies and frameworks that are within the comp plan. In particular, it would allow for regional activity centers to foster true live, work, play mix of uses that can promote energy and activity throughout the center. That's exactly the purpose of TOD zoning according to the code. And of course, it would promote sustainable development. Prioritizing infill and redevelopment is one of the most sustainable ways to develop a city. It allows for development right near built transit infrastructure. It gets people off the roads. It gives them the opportunity to use the train system. That's why it was built. That's why Thornton wanted it, is to have transit-oriented development right next door. So the comp plan isn't the only plan at play here. The comp plan is a higher level document. It sets forth the goals and policies that we've been talking about that apply citywide or categorically to certain parts of the city. And it has that future land use map that designates future land uses for each property within the city. But then the city also has station area master plans. And so for each station within the city has adopted or is adopting station area master plans, stamps. And those stamps drill down, they're much more specific. They look at each parcel, and then within that parcel, what kind of development do we want to see? What's the mix of uses that we want there? And what kind of zoning would support those uses? So in 2017, the city adopted the 112th Avenue Station Area Master Plan. That was after significant collaboration with your neighbor, North Glen, and also significant input from neighbors of this area and citizens of the broader Thornton area. Plenty of opportunities to provide input on that. And this is the plan, this is the policy for how this area, and specifically this property, should develop. And here's what the stamp shows. This is a depiction on the left of the subject property in the kind of northern square, and then that undeveloped space that's not part of this application, but that is south of this property. And on the right, it's a zoomed in version of just this property. And so let's walk through it. The stamp says that this should have a mix of uses. What type of mix of uses? It should have residential, medium, high density on the interior of the property. It should have commercial development or optional commercial development on the corner there, right across the street from the light rail, where it makes the most sense. It'll get the most traffic from people coming to and from light rail. Also, at the interior of the property, you have a proposed park. And then on the perimeter of the property, on the north and east sides, where you're closer to the existing neighborhoods, it reduces the density. It calls for residential low or medium density. And that helps buffer the medium to high density uses that are in the interior of the property and that commercial. It helps buffer those uses as you reduce the density as you get closer to the existing neighborhoods. So that's what the stamp calls for here. This is the policy of the city. This is the vision that the city has put forward that is out in the marketplace for developers to come and see. This is what the city wants here. And what kind of zoning would allow for this to happen? Transit-oriented development zoning is the type of zoning that would allow for this to happen. And so of those two first threshold criteria, we can see that we satisfy the future land use map. We fulfill that vision for transit-oriented development. It's expressly called for in this parcel. We satisfy maybe a dozen or a couple dozen of the goals and policies and frameworks that are provided in the rest of the comp plan. And we fulfill the vision with transit-oriented development, fulfill the vision that's provided in the stamp that is the city's policy and vision for development of this property in particular. So we satisfy one of those two first threshold criteria. So then we get into this next step, and you have to satisfy each of these criteria, 1 through 4. So what do these say? The first criteria says that there are or are planned to be adequate services and infrastructure to support the proposed zoning change and existing uses in the area. Let me go back 1 second. So there's quite a lot of infrastructure, obviously, that's built out in the city. There's storm drainage, there's sanitary sewer, but the one that people care about the most is traffic. And so in just a second, we'll bring up Mike Rocha, who's a traffic engineer, and he can talk through some of the traffic stuff. But on the rest of this stuff, a lot of this goes to what will actually end up being developed here. Now, at this point in the process in the rezoning, We have talked back and forth with city staff. We've had input on what the allowed uses could be here, and it's been determined that all of the existing infrastructure is adequate to support the planned uses for this that could happen in TOD zoning. But I know everyone's favorite one of those is traffic. So why don't we bring up Mike Rocha and he can talk through some of that for us.
All right. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you tonight. My name is Mike Rocha. I have been sworn in. I am with SM Rocha LLC. We are traffic engineering consultants located at 8700 Turnpike Drive, Suite 240 in Westminster. I will try to keep my presentation brief to allow for time for the remaining presentation following me. However, I do remain available to answer any questions at the end of our presentation. Also, please allow me a brief moment to introduce myself and SM Rocha, the company. I have been working in the land development engineering, for over 30 years, with about 4 of those years working for the city of Thornton in city development, doing engineering review. The last 21 years of my career, I've spent specializing in traffic and transportation engineering. SM Rocha, the company, I believe is a highly respected traffic engineering firm with nearly 100 years of combined experience in the traffic and transportation engineering industry. I feel that this experience has allowed SM Rocha to participate in thousands of development and infrastructure projects throughout a multi-state region, primarily in Colorado. This experience includes over 150 approved development projects within the city of Thornton. This provides substantial familiarity with the city's traffic study and engineering requirements. Now, as part of this application, SM Rocha prepared a traffic impact study and parking analysis as part of the concept site plan portion of this zoning application. The traffic study and parking analysis was prepared in accordance with the city's adopted engineering criteria manual, traffic impact study requirements, known area studies, and accepted analysis methodologies used by the city for development review. The traffic study identified, quantified, and assessed future traffic conditions consistent with the level of analysis required of and for zoning level traffic impact study. The study has been reviewed by city engineering and is recommended for approval as explained in your council staff report. At the conceptual and the zoning stage of the development application, the basis of our study includes many items. The key item is the collection and review of 24-hour traffic volumes, which we then use to determine peak hour of the studied roadway. In this particular case, this was done for York and 112th. Then the analysis of peak hour traffic volume from the 24-hour counts were considered for a long-range 20-year condition with and without the proposed zoning development. The traffic study is considered a long-range 20-year planning document and is used to begin the identification of key potential transportation improvements that would be applicable to the development and the adjacent area for later consideration upon actual development. Additional analysis was performed at the request of city engineering to evaluate long-term 20-year capacity of York Street and 112th upon assumed development approval. Our study also identified long-term future year potential delay and queuing condition for the 112th and York intersection, which in our opinion will need further study at time of actual development to develop the appropriate level of design mitigation applicable to this development. And in my opinion, does not mean that the zoning request should be paused or delayed. The summary of the analysis is presented in the following slide. As the slide shows, and let me kind of just walk you through the slide a little bit. This is the summary of the traffic study. And what we had done was focused our review on York Street, 112th. You see on the far left of the slide, this is the roadway capacity, volume capacity per City of Thornton's transportation plan and master planning documents. This is to accommodate, an acceptable operation of these roadways and the classification of the roadway, whether it's a collector or arterial. Next from that is the existing traffic volume. This again is based off of 24-hour counts and the data is collected for both York and 112th. Next is the long-term 20-year projected traffic volume for each roadway. What we then get into is the addition of potential site-generated traffic to York Street and 112th. And then through the review of the available roadway capacity, you'll see on the very far right of your slide here that we do not exceed the capacity of York Street or 112th should this rezoning application be approved today. Our traffic study has been revised several times to account for different items such as neighborhood and city review comments received to date, and area traffic growth and roadway capacity concerns as highlighted here on this slide being presented. While our traffic study awaits city approval, we have worked closely with city engineering staff to address all review comments issued, and it is believed that our traffic study provides a reasonable, appropriate, and technically sound assessment of transportation impacts associated with the proposed zoning application. This concludes my presentation. I remain available to answer any questions at the end of our presentation. And I now return the presentation over to Charlie. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. So I think that was really helpful. Hopefully it was for you. If you have questions, obviously he's sticking around to answer them. So, but I think the key takeaway is really this slide. It's that the infrastructure in this area was developed largely in anticipation of eventual development of this property. You have the light rail station as well to offset some of the traffic impacts, right? The whole idea of transit-oriented development is at least some percentage, some portion of people are going to take the train where they want to go. And this type of development encourages that. But looking at this slide, the main takeaway here really is that the existing infrastructure is built with such a capacity that without this development, in that 2045 without development, without project development, you can see there's plenty of capacity. But even with this development of this property under TOD zoning in the 2045 with project, you have more than adequate capacity, as shown in the last column there, to meet the city's standards and goals, guidelines for service of its traffic infrastructure. And so I think that the takeaway there is, with respect to this criteria for approval of a rezoning, that criteria is satisfied. So the next two criteria both have to do with uses, and so we'd combine them together in this discussion. The criteria 2 is that the subject site is suitable for all permitted uses and development allowed within the requested district, and criterion 3 is that the change in zoning provides for an appropriate use of the property. So both relate to uses. Now, as you know, the city recently adopted a new code. The new code provides what uses are allowed in each zone district. And within TOD zoning, this is the chart that includes all of the uses that are permitted by right in TOD zoning. And so there's quite a few uses there, but they're sort of your typical things you would expect in TOD zoning. They're commercial retail uses, they're office, there's a handful down at the bottom there of different types of residential uses. You have basically apartment type uses, you have triplexes, you have quadplexes. And so it allows for that mix of uses that the city has been seeking in the comp plan and in the stamp. The new code specifically creates TOD zoning and this list of permitted uses to fulfill that vision. And it does that. It groups these uses together precisely because they are compatible. That's the whole purpose of the TOD zone district. And so this is the stamp again. The city has determined that all those uses within TOD zoning would be appropriate within a single zone district. But then that's not the end of the story. In this location on this property, the city has further refined and limited the uses that it wants to see on this property. And so if this moves forward with the next steps of the process through the preliminary plan and the development plan, the developer, Hill Point, will have to put forward plans that show that it's compatible with this stamp. And what does this stamp show? It's what we reviewed earlier on the optional commercial uses right by the light rail station, the higher density and medium density residential uses in the interior, a park, and then that buffer around the edges of the lower to medium density residential uses as you get kind of further out and closer to the existing residential neighborhoods. And so that's how the city ensures the compatibility and that the uses that end up on this property will be appropriate. Is you start with the TOD zoning, there's the long list of permitted uses. All of those have to, by default, have some level of compatibility with each other, or the city wouldn't have put them in the same zone district. But then it's further refined down with this stamp that says, of those uses, here are the ones the city wants to see here. And so any preliminary plan or development plan would be bounced against this stamp and to ensure compatibility with the vision that's laid out in this stamp. And the stamp, excuse me, went through a few different alternatives for what could happen on this property, including an alternative that showed primarily single-family detached. But the stamp concluded that the alternative that we were just showing you here is the preferred alternative. That's the one that the city has selected as the desirable mix of development on this property. And so it brings us to the last criteria, which I'm sure you're all thankful for. And that's that the rezoning is consistent with the character of the existing or planned development on adjacent properties and in the surrounding area or neighborhood. Or measures will be taken to substantially buffer or otherwise substantially mitigate any negative impacts. And so whatever development happens here, as we've talked about, will eventually have to go through the preliminary plan and development plan process. And as part of that process, the primary purpose of that process really is for the city to review that development plan, compare it to 1,500 pages or something of the newly adopted zoning code and all the different regulations on height, on parking, on setbacks, on roof articulation lines, and everything else that you can come up with that goes into a site, essentially a site plan, right? What is the project going to look like? And these are just some examples of that. The code, the good news is that the code has anticipated the need to make sure that new proposed development is compatible with existing surrounding development. And it has sections like this in this chart that include minimum required landscaped areas between the new project and the existing project, minimum fence heights and types, minimum distances that the fence will run. Here's another example, more of a depiction really of the transition landscaping buffer that would be required by the code in between a proposed new development and existing residential. The code has this depiction along with more technical standards that kind of go with the depiction of height transition standards. So if you put new development next to existing residential development, you have to transition the height up. You can't just have this giant wall right next to their backyard. You have to scale the height up as you go, and it has a 2-for-1 incline there the further you get away from the property line. Now this depiction of it is sort of mathematical and stale. So here's what that could play out as. That red line, you see an existing home example on the right there. Existing homes are about 27 feet tall. That transition line is what this is requiring. And so you have the gray building outlines, which are what you could build in TOD zoning, but you see that that would cross into the transition, height transition area. And so you can't build as tall as that TOD zoning. You can only build lower than the red line. And then the yellow buildings there, or gold, are examples of a typical 3-story multifamily apartment project on the left and a typical 2-story townhouse type product on the right. So you can compare and see that the code has already contemplated ways to require development to be compatible with and mitigate its potential impacts on existing neighborhoods. This example is through height, right? And so if you could only build there the 2-story townhouse product, which would be about 30 feet tall, very compatible with the neighboring 27-foot tall house. So that covers that last criterion, which is ensuring that the new development is compatible with existing homes, or that there will be mechanisms put in place through the PP process and the DP process and city review compared to code requirements that the new development will be compatible with existing development. So just quick review here. We satisfy the second of the 2 threshold criteria because the future land use map specifically calls for TOD zoning on this parcel. TOD zoning, in addition to that, would further probably a couple dozen different goals and policies and frameworks within the code. And TOD zoning would fulfill the vision that's laid out in the stamp for the area around this train station and specifically on this property. It would allow the type of development that the city is asking for on this property. So it satisfies that criteria. And then we've been through each of these 4 criteria, that there's adequate infrastructure. We heard from Mike Rocha that the traffic infrastructure, which is most people's primary concern, unless you're really interested in sanitary sewer capacity or something, we can answer that. But the traffic infrastructure is more than adequate, even at full build out of this property after TOD zoning. And that the uses that are contemplated under TOD zoning in the new code are all compatible with and appropriate for this site. And those uses will be further refined and limited by what's in the stamp. And then lastly, we have that the rezoning is consistent with the character of the neighborhood, and or measures will be taken to ensure consistency and ensure that any impacts are mitigated. And the code has numerous ways through its various regulations on setbacks and height and other more technical standards of ensuring compatibility. That's part of the purpose of the new code, and of course is the purpose of the PP and DP process after this rezoning. We thank you for your time tonight. This would be the fulfillment of a 20-year vision that the city has laid out, starting all the way back with lobbying for and trying to get train stations to come through Thornton. And those train stations have been built now. And the city adopted a comp plan and a future land use map and a stamp, and then updated the comp plan to even further encourage TOD in this area. It adopted a strategic plan and a housing needs assessment, and all of those point individually and collectively towards transit-oriented development zoning on this property. And now Hill Point has come forward with an application for that rezoning that satisfies all of the criteria in the code for rezoning. And so we request your support tonight and your vote yes on rezoning this property to TOD. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'm going to get into some public input. In addition to the neighborhood meetings shared earlier by the applicant, staff received 9 letter submissions prior to the packet being put together, as well as 7 petitions in opposition of the project, totaling 588 signatures from the adjacent communities. The letters and petitions have been provided to you in the packet for the hearing, and as mentioned earlier, there are 5 additional letters on the dais for review. Concerns shared by residents in the correspondence were largely related to traffic along 112th and York, crime, safety, and privacy, wildlife preservation, and obstruction of views for the residences along the border. The applicant has addressed the traffic impact study in their presentation, and further review of the traffic impact study will be handled during future phases of the development process. Crime and safety was evaluated by the police service impact statement, which can be found in the packet for this hearing. Additionally, the zoning amendment application was routed to Colorado Parks and Wildlife, and no comments were received. Additional referrals will be made to CPW at the time of further development applications. And finally, residents have concerns related to the future height of development and general buffering of the uses to the existing single-family residential communities. As the applicant presented just now, the code provides tools for transitioning height densities and other development details, which future development will need to meet. On May 19th, 2026, the Planning Commission held a public hearing for this project. After staff and applicant presentation, discussion, and public testimony, the Planning Commission voted to recommend denial of the zoning amendment to council with a vote of 7-0. Planning Commission determined there was insufficient information on the traffic impacts and compatibility with surrounding uses to make a decision on the zoning. So this slide shows the 2 of the 4 criteria that Charlie just introduced as well. To recap what he presented, the first criterion requires adequate facilities and services to exist or be planned to serve all the properties. This has been addressed by the applicant's team, and the project will be subject to all master plans, standards, and specifications and code requirements. Additionally, the subject site must be suitable for the permitted uses within the zone district. The proposed TOD zoning allows for a number of residential uses, as well as uses in the following categories: agriculture and animal related, commercial, entertainment, industrial, automotive, and transportation, lodging, public and institutional, and utilities and infrastructure. The comprehensive plan and the stamp contemplated a mix of uses for this area and support the TOD zone district. Criterion 3 requires the zoning provide for an appropriate use of the property. Parts of the property are currently vacant, while the northern portion of the property contains vacant buildings with structures remaining from the animal care center operations. As mentioned, the TOD district allows for a mix of uses with which can replace the unused structures and provide for organized development. And the final criterion requires the rezoning is consistent with developments on adjacent properties, or that measures will be taken to substantially mitigate negative impacts of any future development. As mentioned in the applicant's presentation, given the proximity of the subject site to the rail station, the stamp and comprehensive plan consider this an appropriate site for TOD zoning. The uses in this zoning would help stimulate ridership of RTD transit and provide an option for residency, services, and retail to RTD riders. Again, as mentioned, the code provides tools for staff to ensure adequate buffering and transitioning is utilized in development of the area. And further, the stamp outlines a transition of density from the SFD lots to the area closest to the station. Any future development will need to comply with the preferred alternative in the stamp. And to better visualize this, the map on the screen shows existing densities of those SFD areas in comparison to what's allowed per the stamp. As you can see, the existing SFD communities have densities ranging from 3 to 5 dwelling units per acre. The preferred alternative in the stamp is shown over the subject site on the map here, which outlines that transition density. The station can be seen in the lower left corner of the map. These density allocations were carefully designed to consider the location of the transit station and the character of the existing surrounding communities. In summary, the application complies with the criteria in Section 18-62 of the 2025 Development Code pertaining to zoning amendments. This proposal requires one action, and staff's recommendation based on the findings within the communication is to approve the TOD zoning proposal. This concludes the presentation.
All right, Council, are there any questions for staff or the applicant at this time? Councilmember Martinez.
Yeah, this is a question for the applicant's presentation. Going back to the traffic study, we saw different numbers of traffic service and volume as a percentage of the capacity for the road. My question is about those changes that were modeled and how they correlate to the level of service. For example, what's the level of service on that A to F scale now? And with the changes in the traffic modeling, how does that change over that time frame that you modeled?
Give me a moment. I'll pull up the study. So in terms of level of service, let me refer to the traffic study where we look at the level of service for existing conditions. And bear with me and I will find that. So existing conditions. Today, no future development within the city in the immediate area, as well as no project. We are looking at level of service for our study intersections at C or better. When we look at long-term 20-year levels of service for the background condition, which is area growth minus the proposed development, we continue to see levels of service operations for our study intersections at level of service C or better. When we get into the assumption of proposed development and number of units, long-term, we continue to see levels of service operations at C or better. So C or better is primarily at intersections, at the main intersections, say York Street and 120th or 112th. We do start to, this is a long-term 20-year projection, we do start to see some levels of service change, but still within C or better. At the site access intersection that is adjacent to the RTD park and ride. But the conclusion or the answer to your question is that We do not exceed level of service C.
Thank you. That's helpful. My next question is for the staff about the signatures in opposition to the development that we received. Were all of those signatures from Thornton residents, or were there North Glen residents or any other residents as signatories of those petitions?
So the buffer did include a lot of North Glen residents, and there were North Glen residents who signed those petitions.
Okay. That's all I have for now.
And before I call on the next person, just as a note of record, Councilmember Russell cannot participate in the quasi-judicial hearing as he is online and it violates our rules of order. So he is probably listening, but he will not be participating in asking questions or in voting in the project. Just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. Councilmember Byrd.
Thank you. I have two questions. One is for the staff and then one for the applicant as well. The one for the staff, do we know how long that particular zone has been vacant?
Are you just referring to the entire property?
Correct.
Or the PD?
The entire property.
I'm not sure the entire history, but I can look. There was no development history on the 3 parcels, but the PD parcel, the Dodge Ranch parcel, was developed in the 70s or 80s with the animal care center.
Do we know when that animal care center stopped functioning?
I'm not sure when it stopped functioning as an animal care center.
Okay. Thank you. And then for the applicant, I saw that there was many different options that were up to.
Just to respond to that last question, it was 2 or 3 years ago that the operations have stopped.
I saw there was many different options you're kind of going through. Is there any plans to do anything for commercial use at all, or is it just going to be residential?
Thank you for your question. Charlie Smith again. So the stamp plan calls for that optional commercial over by the light rail station. So it's not required necessarily by the stamp, but yes, there are plans to do some commercial over there, kind of in the area designated by by the stamp.
Councilmember Morris.
A couple questions here on the traffic study topic again. Maybe this is a methodology thing, but maybe you can enlighten us. Is it using like a worst case scenario, like assuming each occupant in the development is using a vehicle, or is that number getting diluted because of assumption of transit use?
Thank you for the question. Mike Rocha responding. So there was no reduction in traffic generation in efforts to be conservative within our analysis that we could apply because of the proximity to the light rail station. So to recap that, we did not take any reduction in our trip generation estimates for the potential proposed development because of its proximity to the RTD light rail station.
Okay, thank you. This might be a question for staff. And will residents have input on the following steps with the development plan? Is there a neighborhood meeting associated with that? How does that work?
Yes, a neighborhood meeting is required for preliminary plans, and then we also have the option to require a neighborhood meeting for the development plan.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Algie.
Thank you for the presentation. So this question might be either staff or the applicant. Who did the traffic study?
Again, Mike Rocha responding to the question. So the traffic study was prepared by us, SM Rocha LLC, as I introduced us earlier in the presentation. And So
Yes, want to get verification of that. Did it take into account, now granted, you go west of 112th in York, then, obviously we're getting into North Glen and it gets into 2 lanes there. So, and I know it's 4 lanes from York all the way, to Colorado, and then like York toward the end of 112th is 2 lanes. Like you go up further to East York Villas, then you have it's wider because you have the turn lane along with the single lines of traffic. What plans are there to address those?
Well, so as far as the intersection of York and 112th, our study did anticipate and project some long-term future delay and queuing that would be occurring at that intersection. This queuing is primarily associated with the westbound left turn lane to go from 112th up north onto York. So there's several different things that we are looking at and we're discussing further with city staff. If the zoning were to be approved today, that could be potential mitigations for some of the congestion that we would have control over being within the city of Thornton. And some of those items to be further reviewed could be the extension of or the lengthening of the queue of the storage lane for that westbound left. Right now, there's about 100 feet or so in storage. There is the potential that storage could be increased to about 400 feet before we start spilling over into the existing light rail crossing. To date, and through conversations that city staff as well as the design team have had with the city of North Glen, there is no plans that are committed to improvement or widening of 112th west of the existing light rail crossing.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala.
I was just wondering, I'm not sure who would be able to answer this, but just about walkability of the area, given that right now there aren't very many sidewalks specifically in front of the property.
So some of this would get into a little bit of what will happen in the preliminary plan and development plan for the project specific nature of things. But as you can see in the stamp, there's that park in the middle of the property. And obviously we're adjacent to the light rail station. It does call for connectivity through the property from the light rail station, the park, and then onwards after that. And the development team certainly intends to provide some of that connectivity with trails and sidewalks and such. And Mike, you may have more specific information on some of the sidewalk improvements, but any development plan that Hill Point is going to process after this will have to comply with the stamp and that connectivity. That's part of the desire of the TOD is to allow for that all to happen. Thank you.
Yes, and to expand on that, we are having currently as part of the concept plan, having some design discussions with city engineering regarding enhanced pedestrian crossing at York to reach the light rail station. The exact method for the enhancements has not been selected yet, but we are looking at options such as rapid flash, maybe even a high pedestrian signal, but some methods to enhance that walkability, crossability along York Street.
Okay, I have one other question. I know this might be maybe kind of silly, but York it's Thornton, right? Because it's like that's the border. Is North Glen's on the opposite side, correct?
Yes, generally.
So is that road Thornton's road? York?
So it's the jurisdiction is split. So basically the east side of York is Thornton.
Okay.
West side is
that makes
North
sense. Okay, thank you.
Are there any additional questions at this time? Noting you'll get another opportunity to ask questions after public comment.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so at this time, I'm going to go ahead and open the hearing for public comment. Ms. Long, do we have anyone signed up to speak in favor or in opposition to the proposed development?
Yes, Your Honor. We do not have anyone signed up in support. We have 7 individuals signed up in opposition in person and 3 signed up online in opposition.
Thank you. So in just a moment, each speaker will be given up to 3 minutes to speak. Please make sure you watch the light on the podium. When it turns yellow and you hear a single beep, you'll need to wrap up your comments. When it turns red and you hear multiple beeps, your time is up and I'll have to interrupt you as your 3 minutes are over. When you are called, those in person, please come to the podium and state your name, address, and whether you were sworn for the record. And those who indicated on the webinar registration that you wish to speak will be allowed to unmute and speak when the clerk calls your name. You'll also need to state your name, address, and whether or not you were sworn for the record. Ms. Long, would you please call the first person?
Raymond Benson, Thornton resident.
Good evening. My name is Ray Benson, 11693 Fillmore Place. I've been sworn in. I had a bunch of questions to ask you, but one of my main concerns right now, I worked for a municipality for 16 years. I was the lead traffic man and did all this traffic studies, traffic striping, traffic signs, and everything else that fell in line with traffic. My main concern was I saw that little poster up there with the little cars and stuff on it. Everybody works off of that, but when was that produced? Was that produced before the light rail came in, or was it produced just recently? They're usually dated. I don't know why the date wasn't shown on that because it's a legal document. But my main concern is when they state that they want to do studies while doing construction, that's not the way you do construction. I've been in the construction field for 35 years. You have all your plans together. You have all your apples in one basket. You make sure everything is in a row before you even start the project. Obviously, they're not. Another concern was when they say that another thing with the walkability, like the Mayor Pro Tem spoke, there is no walkability over there. There's no signs. There is already in place a pedestrian light further up the road, so they don't need to put that in. But that road is dangerous. It needs to be widened, and yet there's been no talk of widening it. Now, somebody mentioned that the city of North Glen didn't want to put forth any extra money widening. Okay, so we pay for all of it, or the contractor should be responsible for widening the roads before it gets done. Have you seen the roadway on 112th and North Glen when they built them apartments? It is trash from construction. There's no concern or no talk about that. Drive down there by North Glen Police Department, and it looks like the backside of a scaly fish. It's terrible. It's torn apart, and I don't see any future buildings being done with that. So with the traffic and stuff like that and the walkability, with not knowing how we're going to protect the public, that's a concern for a resident. I've been a resident for 16 years in that area, the address that I just gave you. I've been a resident of Thornton over 30 years. Now, I don't know if you guys were around when they put together the stamp for the TOS or TOD, whatever it's called, but that's a great plan. But they want to put things in place before it's even in place, and it hasn't been talked about. You don't put your construction in place while you're doing construction. Show us the plans, show us you want it done. Have you been over to East Lake? In East Lake, they're building that complex. I don't know who's doing it, but the problem is, I was through there this weekend. Half the people are moving out of there because of the way that's being built. It's poorly designed. It's going to impact the neighborhood. It scares the people. I'm approaching seniorhood, or whatever you want to call it. You know, people want to move out of there because of what's going on. We want single families in there. We know it's going to happen. We want you to consider, you're going to hear a lot of stuff from people, but I totally am against dense population. It's not built for it. It truly isn't. Oh, am I going over?
Yep, you're over.
My bad.
Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
Tracy Kilgore, Thornton resident.
Good evening, Tracy Kilgore, 3437 East 115th Drive, and I've been sworn in. I'm here to speak in opposition to the proposed rezoning of the Dodge Ranch development near 112th in York. I have lived in Ward 2 for 48 years. Not my entire life, but 48 years. I want to be clear, many of us are not opposed to development of this property. We simply believe there are better options than large, high-density rental apartment townhouses to this project. The site could accommodate courtyard cottages, senior housing, or smaller detached homes that provide attainable ownership opportunities for residents. A major justification for this project has been its proximity to transit. However, after my own core request to RTDs, ownership ridership data shows at this station it peaked in 2022 at 9,379 riders, and it has declined every year since, falling to 7,057 riders in 2025, a decline of nearly 25%. At the same time, RTD is discussing significant service reductions, including cuts of at least 20% next year, and the potential for even deeper cuts if additional funding is not secured. If transit service is shrinking and ridership is declining, it is reasonable to question whether high-density transit-oriented development assumptions is still the best option for this location. Residents have also raised concerns regarding traffic, infrastructure capacity, public safety, and neighborhood compatibility. These are legitimate planning considerations that deserve careful review. Mayor Coleman previously stated at a prior meeting for a zoning change that simply because the comprehensive plan allows high-density housing does not mean a project is automatically compatible with the surrounding area or neighborhood. That principle applies directly to Dodge Ranch. The question before council is not whether housing should be built. The question is whether this particular project at its density is the right fit for this location. I encourage council to consider alternatives that provide housing opportunities while remaining compatible with the existing community. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
Tricia Quint, North Glen resident.
Good evening, council members. I'm an educator in Tricia Quint, 3098 East 110th Drive, North Glen. I'm an educator and I have been sworn in.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm an educator in Adams 12 and taught third grade for 24 years. Throughout my career, I taught students about civic engagement and the importance of speaking up when decisions may negatively affect their families and communities. I have lived within 2 miles of the proposed TOD rezoning and Dodge Ranch property for 48 years, which is my entire life, and I'm here tonight to oppose the rezoning. The area along York Street lacks adequate pedestrian infrastructure. Stamp walking scores were all well below 80%, indicating a community that relies primarily on vehicles rather than walking. Trail lighting is limited or non-existent, creating additional safety concerns. Traffic congestion already exists. RTD buses struggle to turn westbound, and light rail crossings disrupt traffic because only one westbound lane exists. According to Thornton's Transportation and Mobility Master Plan, the only planned improvements in this area are bike-related projects, such as restriping and adding bike lanes. Yet Hill Point's traffic study, which in the graphics were done in April of 2025, over a year ago, show additional vehicles can be absorbed into the existing network without any meaningful but needed infrastructure upgrades. Dodge Ranch is one of the few remaining open spaces in the area. It is home to protected red-tailed hawks as well as prairie dogs, foxes, rabbits, and bald eagles. These undeveloped spaces provide important ecological value and remind us that not every remaining piece of open land must become concrete. With RTD ridership declining, vehicle traffic will likely continue to increase. Water is also a significant concern. Adding more residents during ongoing drought conditions raises serious questions about long-term sustainability and quality of life for existing residents. The surrounding neighborhoods have been established for decades as single-family residential communities. Rezoning this parcel to TOD introduces a scale and density that is incompatible with the existing character of the area. A cookie-cutter development product, as Hill Point calls it, which looks the same as the Welby Station plan from Hill Point, is not a fit for our area. The 2017 stamp plan was designed to anticipate what may occur, not dictate what must occur. In the plan, it says, TODs typically focus on higher density, family units. In this instance, given the amount of land available and the need to buffer surrounding neighborhoods, the analysis is recommending single-family detached units. Development is inevitable, but growth should occur responsibly and through compromise. The comprehensive plan describes itself as a living document to be revisited. As Plato is credited with saying, citizens are the city, and I ask that you choose community over concrete and deny the Dodge Ranch rezoning application. Thank you.
Thank you. And I am going to ask the audience not to applaud or make statements just because we have to be able to listen to everybody as they're speaking. Would you please call the next person?
Gordon Gray, Thornton.
My name is Gordon Gray, 11519 Clayton Street, Thornton. I have been sworn in. It's a hard act to follow there. Basically, everything that she covered, I was going to cover also, regarding the animals, regarding the water usage, regarding the incompatibility with existing homes. I have lived in Thornton 40 years. I am just 1 year shy of the age of Thornton. This was intended to be our forever home. I'm retired, along with several of my neighbors are retired. However, already since the first meeting, we've already consulted a realtor, and a realtor told if this development goes forward, our property values will go down between 5 and 10%, just based on the fact that we're going to lose the open space behind us and also have a high density, high crime, and very unstable living environment back there. As everyone knows, apartments, especially when you don't own your unit, is not usually not taken care of as well. The other thing that I really find unacceptable is the tie-in to Clayton Street. At one point in time, probably once or twice a month, we had police officers at 115th and Clayton watching that stop sign at the corner there and probably getting all the tickets they wanted to write in any given day. We haven't seen that probably in over 5 years now. We have that street there. We have almost no mitigation on our street, 115th especially, as far as speed control. And Clayton, from way up at the crosswalk, there's no speed mitigation either. And if you would ever drive that street any given day, you would see that the majority of people go well above that speed. I know that because when I come down that street, I'm going 25 miles an hour and people on my back bumper the whole way. One person even passed me one day right there at the corner of Clayton, just south of 116th Avenue. The tie-in to Clayton I find unacceptable because of the additional traffic that will be flowing through there. I've talked to neighbors in our upward of our neighborhood up there, and several of them have mentioned that, yeah, if it's tied in there, we'll go down through there and we'll make that corner and go out to York. Our street, we've been single family, down there for years and years. We've been there 30 years now, and the idea of having the development behind us with roughly, and according to the initial drawing, between our three houses, having 3 units that have 4 units in each one of those units, 12 units, that is definitely high density. I don't have anything else to say. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
Nitesh Ganesh, Thornton.
Good evening. My name is Nitesh Ganesh. I live at 11503 Steel Street, Thornton, and I have been sworn in. Good evening, Mayor and members of Council. I'll get right into it. The developer's own study projects vehicle queues that could back up to an active commuter rail crossing and concludes the fix may not be physically buildable. Table 9 on page 26 of their study projects a 215-foot queue in the through lane and 241 feet queue on the left turn for eastbound at York and 112th by the 2045 p.m. peak. The existing turn lane only holds 80 feet. So just the eastbound turn lane, the queue is about 3 times the existing turn lane. Further quoting the report, queues are expected to exceed existing storage lengths, as I said, and then their own report then says that the fix, and I quote, recommended turn lane lengths to accommodate projected queues may not be achievable. because, again, quote, the at-grade rail crossing located approximately 500 feet west of the intersection. What this means, by their own analysis in that report, on a typical bad evening, the line of cars waiting to move east might extend past the end-line tracks. Their proposed answer in the report is to have signage and, quote, to monitor the study intersections. According to the preliminary 2025 Federal Railroad Administration data compiled by the nonprofit Operation Lifesaver, there were about 2,200 highway rail grade crossing collisions in the U.S. last year, resulting in 285 fatalities and 765 injuries. This is not just a congestion concern, this is a safety issue. The Institute of Transportation Engineers, which is the national professional standard, requires queue analysis and preemption coordination should be evaluated when queues are likely to reach the tracks. The developer study projects exactly the condition and performs none of this analysis. And it documents no coordination with the RTD, which operates the end line and has jurisdiction over the crossing. I actually want to flag something here. These queue numbers and the fact that their recommended fix may not be physically buildable did not appear in the TIS summary that was submitted to the council. It was also not presented in the slide they presented tonight. The summary only describes intersection operating at acceptable levels of service. It does not tell you that the developer's own report documented the queue will extend past a commuter rail crossing, or the proposed mitigation may not be possible to build. I am genuinely disappointed by that omission. An important safety-related finding in a 140-page study should not be on a resident to dig out and bring. Second, I'll be quick about this. The wrong type of analysis was performed for this situation, and the Federal Highway Administration's own guidance says so by name. Their report uses Synchro software running HCM intersection analysis, which provides the level of service analysis. The FHWA's traffic analysis toolbox says that the exact conditions, queues at one location interfering with another, lanes dropping, leaving an intersection, which is the 4-lane becoming the 2-lane, and the turn pocket overflows into through traffic are the exact wrong conditions to actually use this analysis.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Would you please call the next person?
Valerie Leonardo, Thornton.
Good evening. My name is Valerie Leonardo. I'm at 2400 East 116th Court, and I have been sworn in. Good evening, Council and Mayor. I am here to strongly urge this commission to deny the rezoning of Dodge Ranch L1 parcel into a transit-oriented development district. First, let's look at the immediate neighborhood. Dodge Ranch is surrounded by established single-family homes where many residents have lived for over 30 years. Investing in a stable, close-knit community, reflecting this deep investment, community members came together and collected 588 signatures opposing the rezoning. Next, by introducing a 500-plus unit rental development into this less than 30-acre space, creates a severe zoning mismatch. A high-density rental project of this scale will drastically overwhelm our local infrastructure and traffic capacity, considering one of the entrances would become a neighborhood cut-through. Equally concerning is how it alters our community's character, replacing the opportunity for traditional homeownership with corporate-owned rentals. The city transit and growth goals are important. However, this unique site demands a more tailored approach than what is currently proposed. Last, we cannot ignore the immediate ecological impact. This open space is much more than undeveloped acreage. It is a thriving local ecosystem. Neighborhoods frequently observe hawks, bald eagles, and diverse range of wildlife nesting and hunting throughout this area. Finally, every council meeting begins with a land acknowledgement to respect the indigenous people of this region. We do not uphold that promise by burying our remaining open space under high-density TOD development. We do it by protecting the land, respecting the community, and preserving the natural habitat that still thrives here. I ask you all to please honor the culture you acknowledge at the start of every meeting, my culture and my community. I ask that you protect our neighborhood and stand by your own declared values by upholding the Planning Commission's unanimous decision to deny this rezoning request. The Commission saw clearly that this proposal to rezone for such a massive project is a poor fit for our community's infrastructure and character. Please vote no on the rezoning of Dodge Ranch. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
Sarah Buscol, 3002 East 115th Avenue.
Thank you. And address is on 115th Avenue, and I have been sworn in. Like she said, my name is Sarah. I've been in the Thornton community for almost 15 years, owned my property adjacent to this district for almost 10 years. About 2 years ago, our family was displaced from a house fire, and we've had a lot of safety concerns in the neighborhood since. During this 2-year rebuilding, our home was broken into twice. We had a transient population living right next to the house, which Councilman Barella has helped us resolve that issue. And the night that we moved back home into our house from our house fire, so a month and a half ago, we had a speeding car come through over the curb, on the curve, through the fence and into the side of our house. So definitely something that was very, very already a tough situation, and already experiencing some of the safety concerns in the existing neighborhood. But again, we're not the first fence that's been hit on 115th Street in the 10 years I've lived here. Just having a lot of those safety concerns that have already been brought up. What is that walkability looking like? What is that surveillance looking like? Again, that traffic that's been talked about several times. Every car that goes down 115th Street, you see the slow down flashing at you. There are no speed bumps between Steele and Clayton Street that will actually slow somebody down. There's a little speed hump. Most people don't even hit the brakes for. So again, as we're talking about bringing in those larger populations, especially those, the apartment complexes, that high density housing, we also need to consider what that safety aspect looks like for the existing residents, whether that's, more foot traffic coming through, what that looks like as far as the people that are coming into that area, as well as, again, that traffic area. Like I said, this was less than 2 months ago. And like I said, the night that we finally moved home after being gone for 2 years was definitely shaking for us. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
Alan Denke, 11234 Claude Court, North Glen. And I do not see them online, but if they are, they can raise their hand or press star 9 to be unmuted. The next person is Alvarado Medrano, 11514 Steel Street.
Steel Street.
Yes. All right, if you could state your name and address for the record and whether or not you were sworn.
Yes, my name is Alvaro Medrano. I'm 11514 Steel Street. I'm here in strong opposition to this to the development and the plan. I think all of the neighbors that are here have come with a lot of good information, more prepared than I have tonight, but the traffic with 112 eastbound bottlenecking and turning into 2 lanes in the North Glen area. It doesn't sound like there's a good plan for that. And I would just ask the representatives to, again, obviously we're all here in opposition, and this is the community. You guys were talking earlier about being with the community this past weekend in Thornton Fest. And I think that, it's pretty obvious that the community is against this. We want to protect our community. We don't want high density housing. We want to protect the wildlife. I'm sure that a lot of others have seen the bald eagles that hang out in that open space, and that's important to the community. So I think that's all I have to say. Thank you guys, and thank you for all the community showing up and expressing their concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you please call the next person?
Lillian Nurena, 2498 East 116th Avenue. And they should be able to unmute.
You see them online?
Looks like they are unmuted.
Maybe say the name again.
Lillian Nurena.
Hello.
We can hear you now.
Okay. I wasn't preparing to speak, but I think just
Can you state your name and address and whether or not you were sworn for the record?
oh, my name is Lillian Arena. My address is 2498 East 116th Avenue. I don't think I was sworn in.
Do you hereby swear or affirm that your testimony before this council will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I said, I was not prepared to say anything, but I just, like several others have already stated, I'm not in disagreement with the space being used or being taken up for something else, but I don't agree with it being used for the high density homes. Yeah, just those like that, and just the concerns with the traffic and the wildlife, and then like many others have stated, concerns with resources like water, accessibility. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that was the last person that was signed up to speak.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there anyone in the audience that wanted to speak but didn't know you needed to sign up? You can come to the podium now, state your name, address, and whether or not you were sworn, and if not, we will get you sworn in. And I see two people. Is that the only ones that I see? All right.
Good evening, Jean Chinaki, 10969 Gaylord Street, North Glen, and I have been sworn. I believe the numbers that Roach has given you are misrepresented. Of the 588 signatures that were collected, I got 252 of them myself. And those numbers came from just the homes that back up along 112th Street from the railroad tracks to Fox Run, because that's where we live. So if they were there, I saw somebody there from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It may have been a holiday, it may have been a non-school day, but on regular days, it takes 2 to 3 lights just to get out of our complex on York to get to 112. It takes 15 minutes to get from Washington Street to make a right on 112 to get down to Irma when traffic is all backed up. With the emission station there's usually a line down the street to where the cars coming east have to drive in the middle, where there should be an island, I think, but regardless. So there's definitely going to be more of a cluster than there already is now. This project was denied at 124th in Washington. Only you in High Point know why. I don't know why. I just know that it was denied. There is a lot of information on the internet about the quality of the homes that Hill Point builds and apartments. You can't call it a luxury apartment just because you've got matching steel washing machines and refrigerators. Luxury is your cabinets not falling off the walls. Luxury is not having dog poop all over the common grounds. Luxury is not having needles or prostitution in the complexes happening. That is not luxury at all. Last time I spoke, I brought up some negative comments that I found online and was said, oh, that was just one. I have dates here of employees that work there and say it's a crappy company. They're paid $15 to $25 an hour. They can't even afford to live in what they're going to be building. So I don't know how they expect a 2-bedroom apartment just to be 2 people. That's not going to happen. I have a 3-bedroom unit 2 doors down from me. They have 5 cars. And that's people owning, having to share the rooms.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I oppose this.
And then we had one more person that had raised their hand. If you could come up and state your name and address and whether or not you were sworn.
My name is Casper Casebute. I live at 2702 East 116th Avenue. I have not been sworn in.
Please
You
raise
look
your
over
right
to the
hand. Do you hereby swear or affirm that your testimony before this council will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Thank you.
So good evening, Mayor and council members. As I stated, my name is Casper and I live immediately adjacent to the proposed Dodge Ranch project. My wife and I chose Thornton as a place to put down our roots and raise our family. We invested in our home because we value the character of this neighborhood, the sense of safety, the open space, and the equality of life it offers. We're now raising our young daughter here, and like many families, we made that decision with the expectation that the surrounding area would develop in a thoughtful and compatible manner. I want to be clear at the outset that we are not opposed to growth, and Thornton will continue to grow, and we understand that. What we oppose is recognizing the conceptual site plan as it currently proposed because of the permanent impacts it would have on the families who already live there. The proposal places dense townhomes and multifamily development directly against the existing single-family homes with little meaningful transition between its uses. And that adjacency fundamentally changes the privacy, safety, and livability of our neighborhood in ways that cannot be undone once approved. From a public safety perspective, the concerns are rooted in the design itself. Multiple access points, rear lot parking, and increased pedestrian traffic immediately adjacent to the existing homes creates more opportunities for trespassing, vehicle break-ins, and other property crimes. These concerns are not about who may live there. They are about the site functions over time. Lighting, cameras, they depend on long-term management and enforcement that cannot be guaranteed in perpetuity. The project will also introduce additional traffic, noise, and activity directly next to homes that were never designed for that level of intensity. Parking areas, internal roads, and community amenities can create disturbances, and neighboring homeowners will be expected to live with that every day. We are also concerned about the environmental and infrastructure impacts. Thornton is currently operating a stage 1 drought restrictions, asking residents to conserve water because of the reduced projected water supplies. And at the time when the city is encouraging conservation, is it reasonable to ask whether additional high-density development is consistent with long-term water and infrastructure planning? For these reasons, I respectfully request that this rezoning conceptual site plan be denied as proposed or substantially redesigned to provide meaningful separation between existing homes and higher density development, with the greater density concentrated closer to arterial corridors and commercial areas. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so at this time, we have one more person that wants to speak. Please come to the podium. This will be our last person. Make sure you state your name and address and whether or not you were sworn.
I haven't been sworn in.
Do your name and address and then look over to the clerk.
I'm Norman Tolk. My address is 11500 Milwaukee Street. I've been living there since '96.
If you could look over to the clerk, she'll get you sworn in.
And raise your right hand. Do you hereby swear or affirm that your testimony before this council will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. I have been to every one of these meetings, so I'm not going to say anything else that everybody else hasn't said. But tonight, this gentleman said about the study about light rail, right? And the light rail has been here a long time, but they didn't put a bridge across 112th like they did on 104th or 120th. So 20 years ago, light rail wasn't planning for this place to be across there. Or else they would have said, well, maybe in the future we're going to have this many people over there. So this light rail thing I've seen it. I've used it. I used it to go to the Rockies to see them lose. I use it to go to the stock show, and it goes right behind there, and we don't pay for parking. So I have used the light rail. So that you're not going to change that intersection. You're not going to make RTD is not magically going to make it bigger. That's the only thing I have to say. I just don't see what's changed between the last meeting and this one myself, so I hope people really listen. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so that being the last person for public comment, I have a list of questions that staff or the applicant will need to help me out with, and then we'll let council ask additional questions in case I missed anything. We heard a lot about traffic concerns, in particular the timeline of the study. So it looks like it was done in April of last year. Before any additional conceptual site plan or plan development is reviewed by staff, will there be another traffic study completed with more up-to-date details?
Good evening again, Mike Rocha. I have been sworn. I'll try to address this question as best as I can. We have prepared the traffic impact study associated with the concept site plan. We understand that there's going to be, and this is a to summarize, this is a high level traffic study that starts to identify some key issues, right? Based on assumed development density, a lot of which has been presented through the neighborhood meetings. We fully would expect that some either addendums to the study or conformance letters to this study would be needed with later development applications. And later development applications that start to really associate the fine details of the site development. So that we can design appropriately the infrastructure improvements necessary to serve this development, and do that before any construction happens. That's just part of the city's policy.
While you're standing up there, to follow up with the gentleman's question about which study was chosen and used, that the engineering analysis was the incorrect study, can you address that concern?
Yes. So those are some very detailed comments. What I have done, I am prepared to respond to those. What I have done is I've tried to summarize our response to those technical comments in the best form that I feel is appropriate. That is through a technical memorandum for response. I have copies of that memo that was just finalized prior to this meeting. I would, if accepted by the board, would like to submit these for record. Excuse me.
Thank you.
For council members to review. It's a technical response, so it's if you need if you have problems sleeping at night, read one of these and you should be able to go to sleep.
Ms. Yellico?
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, but there are extra copies of those at the back for the public.
Okay, so if anyone in the public would like a copy of those, they are in the back of the room. We can get you one of those as well.
And as mentioned, it's a very detailed response to Mr. Ganesha's comments that have been submitted. I'm happy to read into the record the memo, or I can read into the conclusion of the memo.
I think the conclusion would be appropriate.
Okay. All right. So let me just start off with the conclusion. of the memo and just say that, and some of this we're taking a little bit out of context because we're reading the very end of it. But let me see here. So the conclusion of our response reads as, the Dodge Ranch Traffic Impact Study was prepared using nationally accepted transportation engineering methodology that are routinely utilized by public agencies throughout the United States. The Dodge Ranch Traffic Impact Study appropriately evaluated future traffic operations, reported projected queue lengths, identified potential storage deficiencies, acknowledged physical constraints, and provided recommendations consistent with the scope and purpose of a development traffic impact study. The concerns raised in the public comment do not invalidate the methodologies utilized, nor do they demonstrate that the traffic impact study is technically deficient. Rather, the Dodge Ranch Traffic Impact Study successfully identified the very operational conditions cited by the commentor and provided the information necessary for future transportation planning decisions. It remains our professional opinion that the Dodge Ranch Traffic Impact Study provides a reasonable, appropriate, and technically sound assessment of traffic impacts associated with the proposed Dodge Ranch development. So that's the conclusion of this memo. This is a 4-page memo. And within this memo, we try to break down the individual concerns. We're identifying and acknowledging the projected queue lengths near the railroad crossing. I will say that it is important to recognize that the reported queue lengths present a 95th percentile queue estimated under long-range future year conditions 2045, and that our methodology, the highway capacity manual queue estimates are intentionally conservative and are intended to represent infrequent but plausible peak operating conditions for planning and design purposes. So again, to provide a more appropriate response to Mr. Ganesh's comments as submitted, this memorandum technical response is being provided tonight for record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A couple of other questions that came up specifically around walkability and lighting. So can the applicant talk a little bit about future opportunities for those to be included in the development plan process?
Thank you, Mayor. Charlie Smith again. Sound like a frog. Appreciate those questions and comments on lighting and walkability. We summarized some of that before, and again, we're trying to walk the balance of this being the rezoning hearing and what would play out, in specific lighting choices or locations, and all of that would be assessed in detail in the PP and DP process. And so with respect to lighting, obviously Hill Point wants a safe and friendly environment for its residents to enjoy, and has every interest in providing lighting solutions that provide a safe environment for that. And there's pretty detailed requirements for lighting in the code as well. Are there specific questions about that?
I just wanted confirmation that the process would allow for that input going forward.
Yes, absolutely. During the PP and DP process, lighting would be assessed as part of the plans that are specific to the development.
Thank you.
And same thing with walkability. There's the broad strokes that are required by the stamp plan, and I think you heard tonight that there's every intention to comply with what's called for with connectivity and walkability in the stamp plan and other city transportation plans that call for a walkable environment around TOD development. And then the specifics of that, is it a 6-foot sidewalk or an 8-foot sidewalk? That kind of thing will play out in the PP and DP process.
Thank you. And then my last question, before I open it up for council for additional questions, is related to the neighborhood meeting follow-ups. So 3 meetings have already been held as part of this overall zoning requirement. The statement was made that there is the potential to have additional neighborhood meetings going forward. Can the applicant commit to those future neighborhood meetings?
Yeah, I think at least one is required. Is that right, during the preliminary plan process? So it's at least one is required, so that will happen for certain. And then whether additional ones are required, I think, is up to the city. And Hill Point would obviously cooperate in those efforts and reach out and fold that feedback into the plans. But go ahead, Erin, sorry.
Yeah, at least one is required with the preliminary plan that was kind of combined with the zoning neighborhood meetings. But then during the development plan phase, it's up to the director's discretion. So I think for this project, it would be rather needed.
Thank you. All right, council, I'll open it up to you for any additional questions for staff or the applicant. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted you to hear it from me. I absolutely commit to that.
Thank you. Any other questions from council? Mayor Pro Tem Ayala?
Yeah, this is a question for the applicant. I was just wondering exactly how much we can get into working with the community around the buffering from the houses that already exist and the high density housing that will be put in place possibly in that area. Just it seems like a lot of the concerns from the community are oriented around that, and I just wanted to see what types of actions can be taken place during the process to make sure that those concerns are mitigated and worked through with the community.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ayala. Sorry. Excuse me. So with respect to buffering and the height and kind of the relation between this new development and the existing community, I think you heard that Marcus and the Hill Point team is committed to continuing those discussions beyond just the required one meeting, if that's what ends up unfolding as the process. And we've had some feedback on that, that they're already working towards including into the plan. And as we incorporate or receive more feedback from the community on those issues, they're more than happy to work with the community to provide solutions to those concerns, if those are the concerns that we're hearing from the neighbors. The code itself provides specific requirements for that are intended to further the buffering and mitigate the impact of having increased density next to single-family homes, as well as the stamp plan with the buffering or the higher density uses at the interior of the property, and then that kind of buffered area of lower density on the perimeter next to the existing single-family home. So they'll certainly fulfill that in their plan by having the reduced density on the perimeter there. They'll obviously comply with all the code requirements for that height mitigation that happens, and buffering and fencing and the landscape buffer, and all the other things the code requires. But if there is more to be said there in interaction with the community, Hill Point is open to all of that. And that plays out in these neighborhood meetings that will happen as part of the preliminary plan and development plan process after this, in an interaction with staff back and forth to make sure that those voices are being heard. And then I would just, one other note is the TOD and the stamp allow for a certain level of density, and Hill Point has no intention of maxing out that density. In fact, they're proposing something in the neighborhood of 69%. So almost more than a 30% reduction in what would be allowed under TOD zoning. So they're already going kind of another step in what they're proposing in making sure that the density is compatible with the existing neighborhood.
What can we do to make sure that we have a plan for that type of those types of meetings and communication with the community. Because what I'd hate to see happen is that this gets approved and then there's not a plan. It's just like one meeting or, maybe a couple meetings where folks don't get enough communication to be able to be involved in that. So what can we do to make sure that there's a plan so the community can be involved? Obviously, there's a lot of folks here tonight, and there's been folks that have been engaged in this process. If this were to pass, what would be the plan to make sure that there's a continuous ability for the community to have input on those plans?
Yeah, I think it's the commitment from Hill Point to continue this process that they've been engaged in. And so starting in January, they had 3 neighborhood meetings in different formats to ensure that people with different schedules or interests or abilities could show up to those. Part of it is the commitment tonight that hopefully everybody hears who has interest or support or opposition for the project, that Hill Point is open ears and willing to collaborate with its neighbors and community on that. And then the specifics for, when is the meeting and where is it held and all that will be worked out with city staff to ensure that it is able to be maximally attended and advertised and available to people. So it's hard to plan the meeting right now, but there's a commitment there to continuing those conversations and to integrating that feedback from the community into the plans. And I think, part of that is staff holding us accountable too. That's part of the PP and DP review process, is to ensure that neighborhood feedback has been appropriately integrated into the plans.
So then can I ask staff what their plans would be to make sure this happens?
Staff is prepared to hold required meetings per city code and any other meetings that would be requested from the council.
Councilmember Algie?
Yeah, thank you again for the presentation. So this is for the applicant. How many properties does Hill Point have throughout the United States? And also, do you have any information about, because we heard the concern from neighbors about property values. So do you have that information as far as with that?
Good evening. My name's Mark Foster. I have been sworn in. I do reside at 3773 Cherry Creek Drive in Denver, Colorado. So in regards to, can you please repeat the questions for me?
Yeah, so how many properties does Hill Point have throughout the United States? And also, do you have information like the homes surrounding your properties about property values? Because that was brought up by our neighbors tonight.
Yeah, great
about
question.
that concern.
Yeah, so as regards to properties, as we stated before, we're a national multifamily developer.
Okay.
We own and operate over 10,000 units. That amounts to about 50 projects across the United States. As far as our local expertise, I can tell you that we're currently under construction on a project in the town of Gypsum. So if you all are from here and have been up to the mountains, that's a mountain community that's in dire need of workforce housing, and we're delivering that product for them up there. As far as property value, that is obviously something that has to be done by, as you all know, assessors and appraisers, et cetera. I don't have a response to that. I think we're all seeing our property values go up, go down, depending on interest rates, the environment that we're all interested in and exposed to. What I can tell you is that we are building around other existing properties and neighborhoods everywhere across the U.S. We're well received. We build a high quality product. We provide safety. We provide a connectivity to our community. As Marcus was saying before, we own and operate our own stuff. That means that we are the people there that are responsible for taking care of our community and providing our residents with a high quality. What that does to the surrounding community, I can only tell you right now that we're well received in other communities we're being in.
And one more question. What's the compensation of your employees? Because that was brought up as well.
That's a question I'm not here to answer for you, and I can't answer for you, being a private company. So
Thank you.
I will attempt to address that. Obviously, there's a range of pay, but I can tell you that anybody that works on site, the comment made that they can't even afford to live there. We actually assure that they can. We will reduce their rent so that if an employee works for us, they can live on site if they choose to. So we adjust that accordingly.
Thank you. That's all.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala?
This is more of a question for our attorney. I was wondering if we might be able to postpone the hearing for a date certain to see if we could just have a more robust plan for input from the community as this development were to take place in the future.
That is not a specific criteria for rezoning. So I think the most council could do on that issue was really direct staff to work on that plan and bring it back to council and make sure it meets council's needs after a decision tonight.
Okay, thank you.
If it's approved.
Councilmember Salazar?
Okay, as I sit here this evening and listen to all the neighbors, I'm just wondering if you have truly taken into consideration their concerns. Like, have you changed your CSP already because you've listened to the community?
I have tried to let Charlie answer some of these questions because I've been cautioned with getting too much into the preliminary plan versus sticking on rezone topics. So that's hard to answer. The answer is yes, but it is hard to get into the details of that without being able to really get into the specifics of the plan. But yes, and I look forward to. Here's the thing about community meetings. I actually tell people I love them, and they think I'm crazy. And the reality is that, like with any development, any growth, right? There's fears, there's concerns of what's going on, and if there's developers that are trying to hide, I can understand how it breeds that fear. I commit to any meeting you guys. I mean, obviously we've had 3. That was 2 more than were required. There's 1 required at the next stage. If they require 2, I will be here. Thank you.
Are there any additional questions from council? All right, hearing none, I will close the public hearing at 9:41 p.m. Mayor Pro Tem Ayala, would you introduce item 10A?
An ordinance approving a zoning amendment for the approximately 29 acres of land generally located on the northeast corner of East 112th Avenue and York Street, Dodge Ranch. And I move for its approval.
Second.
Thank you. Approval of the ordinance on first reading has been moved and seconded. I'll open it for discussion. Mayor Pro Tem Ayala, you have the option to go first as you made the motion.
Okay, thank you. I will be voting to approve this tonight. I know that there are a lot of concerns from the community. One of the things that we've been tasked with the city's council is that we do have a need for housing throughout the state of Colorado, throughout our city. It's a real need. And there have been changes to our code. And this is something that our city has been planning to do for a while. I live in the same neighborhood you all live in too. So I live in Wood Glen. I walk near that space a lot with my dog. I do know the struggles of the walkability. This is something that we have to look to the future for like making sure that we have housing in that area. I know RTD ridership has been down. I've been an RTD rider myself through Thornton into Denver. But a lot of this stuff doesn't change unless we start making planning decisions that are going to be conducive to getting folks riding light rail, getting workforce housing in our community. And my goal leaving this evening is really to work with our city staff to make sure that we continue to have these conversations with the community so we can make sure that this development is going to be conducive to something that we can live in as a community, we can live next to as a community, and we can welcome new neighbors into our community so that way they can take advantages of the great city that Thornton is and also be able to access that that train station as well and use it for their jobs and their commute. So that's where I am tonight.
Discussion from other council members? All right, I'll add my comments as well as we close this out. First, I want to say thank you to everybody that came out and spoke tonight. It is extremely important for us to hear from the community when projects like this come before us. And not just the city of Thornton, but also North Glen. You guys are our neighbors. We are partners in this, and we recognize that projects can impact both cities. The lines of the city don't matter when it is a neighborhood that is impacting all of us. For years, we have been working to figure out what to do in this area, and the comprehensive plan was updated specifically to address the STAMP plan, the Station Area Master Plan, related to the RTD station. The process that we have put in place specifically to address public comment and concerns was identified as a way to get comment early. And so the way we have created this is almost complicated things at this point, I think, from a public viewpoint. So I'm going to do a couple of things. I want to talk about the process, but also give you an opportunity for input. The process itself is for the zoning tonight. That allows us to open the door to have additional conversation about what happens next within the confines of the plan and the zone to address all of the concerns that I heard tonight. The traffic, the future development, even RTD, the walkability, making sure that there's buffers, the lighting of the trails, those are all items that will come after a zoning amendment has been changed. But those are all extremely important, and you have to continue that process in order to make sure that those are addressed going forward. There is a planning commission or a planning academy that we're putting together. We would love your participation in that to be able to talk to us about your concerns around this whole process, and that will help you understand what we do as well. I am going to support this tonight because there is an opportunity for that future development. Should it pass, I will actually make the motion for staff to develop a comprehensive plan for community outreach and input related to this project. Would you please poll the council?
Council, please cast your votes. Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. And with that, I am going to make a motion to direct staff to develop a comprehensive community outreach and engagement plan related to this project.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. I think I gave my comments earlier, but is there any other discussion? Please poll the council.
Council, please cast your votes. Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Item 11 is a legislative public hearing. Item 11A is a public hearing concerning an ordinance amending Section 10-61 of the Thornton City Code regarding work exempt from a building permit and creating new sections 10-182 and 10-183 to adopt by reference the Colorado Model Electric Ready and Solar Ready Code pursuant to state law. Public hearing is now open at 9:47 p.m. Justin Nielsen, Plans Examining Supervisor, will present this item. Please make sure you state your name and address and whether or not you've been sworn, and if not, please look to the clerk as she can give you the oath.
Justin Nielsen, Plans Examining Supervisor for the City of Thornton Building Inspection Division. I have not been sworn.
And I'm going to ask the members of the audience as you're leaving, just please be quiet so that we can hear the next hearing.
Do you hereby swear or affirm that your testimony before this council will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. I'm presenting this item, which is an ordinance to amend the Thornton City Code, Section 10-182 and 10-183, pertaining to the adoption of the model electric ready and solar ready codes by reference. Also to amend Section 1061C of the Thornton City Code to reconcile some differences in the Thornton Code and the adopted 2024 building codes. Colorado House Bill HB 22-1362 requires any municipality that adopts or updates a building code on or after July 1st, 2023 and before July 1st, 2026 to adopt by reference the Colorado Model Electric Ready and Solar Ready Code. Some highlights of the Model Electric and Solar Ready Code include requirements to design roof to accommodate future solar panel installation, provide a percentage of parking spaces with EV chargers and future EV charger installation, to design or provide electrical wiring to gas-burning appliances for future electric appliance installation. This will greatly reduce the cost of retrofitting future solar and electric installations. There is a provision for larger commercial buildings to request a waiver for substantial cost. There are also a few minor conflicts between the Thornton City Code and the 2024 I-codes as they were previously adopted regarding work exempted from permit, and they have been addressed with a proposed amendment to Section 1061C of the Thornton City Code. This modification will refer to the 2024 international codes for all the work exempted from permit. For example, accessory structures less than 200 square feet in the 2024 building codes instead of the 120 square feet in the Thornton City Code. Fences over 7 feet instead of over 30 inches. Door and window replacement also is required to meet energy efficiency as stated in the 2024 energy codes. And that would no longer be on the exempted from permit list. I'm happy to answer any questions regarding the proposed code adoption.
Are there any questions at this time? All right, hearing none, I can open the hearing for public comment. As long as we have anyone signed up to speak in favor of or in opposition to the proposed ordinance?
No, Your Honor, no one has signed up to speak.
Is there anyone in the audience that wanted to speak but didn't know you needed to sign up? All right, one last time for questions from the council. All right, I will go ahead and close the public hearing at 9:51 p.m. Mayor Pro Tem Ayala, would you introduce item 11A for second reading?
An ordinance amending Section 10-61 of the Thornton City Code regarding work exempt from a building permit and creating new sections 10-182 and 10-183 to adopt by reference the Colorado Model Electric Ready and Solar Ready Code pursuant to state law. And I move for its approval.
Second.
Thank you. Approval of the ordinance on second reading has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Mayor Pro Tem Ayala, you have the option to go first as you made the motion.
I'm good.
I'll just add, we are following state law. Would you please poll the council?
Mayor Coleman?
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember Morris?
Yes.
Councilmember Russell?
Yes.
Councilmember Salazar?
Yes.
Councilmember Acunto?
Yes.
Councilmember Algie?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala?
Yes.
Councilmember Byrd?
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 12 is staff reports. There are no staff reports this evening. Item 13 is the consent calendar. Is there any member of council who would like to remove an item from the consent calendar? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Approval of the consent calendar as presented has been moved and seconded. Clerk, please read the appropriate title into the record and poll the council.
An ordinance amending Section 38-523 HHH, careless driving, and Section 38-645, operation of motor vehicle and recreational vehicles, and repealing and replacing Section 38-641, electrical assisted bicycle. Councilmember Martinez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Morris?
Yes.
Councilmember Russell?
Yes.
Councilmember Salazar?
Yes.
Councilmember Acunto?
Yes.
Councilmember Algie?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala?
Yes.
Councilmember Byrd?
Yes.
Mayor Coleman?
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 14 is action items. Item 14A has been removed from the agenda. Item 14B is an ordinance amending Article 2 of Chapter 18 of the City of Thornton Municipal Code to supplement the adoption of a fast-track permitting process for qualified affordable housing projects. I'll turn this over to Mike Garrett, Planning Director, to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Mike Garrett, Planning Director. This is a second reading for code amendments associated with Proposition 123, which is directly related to the city's development of fast tracking of affordable housing projects, specifically in the development permit and permitting stages of developments and some subdivisions as well as if they qualify under state ordinances. So within the Development Code, Chapter 18, staff is is recommending changes to the code. First is 1826 and this is regarding pre-application processes that will require pre-applications for any affordable housing project. It's not required with all of our application types, but in this case it would be. Public notice, we'd actually be doing neighborhood meetings. Again, as we mentioned with the previous application, we require neighborhood meetings for all development planning, preliminary plans. In this case, we will be removing the preliminary plan if it's affordable development permit. I'll get to that in a moment. But the development of plan public notice will be right after the applicant submits and the staff agrees that it's a complete application. So there'll be a public meeting really early in the process to get a significant amount of input at that stage. Development plans will be required with these type of codes. A 90-day process would be in place as long as the applicant can meet those deadlines when it comes to resubmitting applicable documents to the staff, and the staff obviously keeping on their timelines that we have as well. And that's really a partnership approach that will be done through the development process to achieve those kind of timelines we're talking about. And finally, the preliminary plans, if the projects do fully comply with the affordable housing requirements, they will be exempt from having to submit a preliminary plan. This was heard on May 26 with a 6-1 vote. From there, that does conclude staff's presentation. If you have any additional questions, happy to answer those.
Any questions from council? All right, hearing none, Councilmember Russell, would you please introduce item 14B for second reading?
Yes, I'd like to introduce an ordinance amending Article 2 of Chapter 18 of the City of Thornton Municipal Code to supplement the adoption of a fast-track permitting process for qualified affordable housing projects, and ask for its approval.
Second.
Thank you. Approval of the ordinance on second reading has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please poll the council.
Councilmember Morris?
No.
Councilmember Russell?
Yes.
Councilmember Salazar?
Yes.
Councilmember Acunto?
Yes.
Councilmember Algie?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala?
Yes.
Councilmember Byrd?
No.
Mayor Coleman?
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Motion passed 7-2, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 15 is adjournment, and having no further business, we are adjourned at 9:56 p.m.